Walls too close, the world too wide. A ghost unseen, passing time. She wore her fears like second skin. Spoke to shadows, breathed them in. Dreamed of voices calling home. Somewhere she was not alone. She crossed the line from dark to seen. A spark against the dark inside. From the silence, a signal rose through the static. A thousand souls, we are the lost, the strange, the seen. United by the screen between. Raise your voice, you're not alone in these pixels. We found a home from broken nights to blazing dawns. Together we carry Days turned years, encoded skies. 10 winters passed before her eyes. Every stream a thread of trust, built from hope and honest dust. Names became more than a chat. Hearts behind each avatar shared their scars, their wins, their pain. Locked in just to feel okay. She learned that strength is letting show the cracks where hidden lights can glow. From the silence, a signal rose through the static. A thousand souls, we are the lost, the strange, the seen. United by the screen between. Raise your voice, you're not alone in these pixels. We found a home from broken nights to blazing dawns. Together we carry on. To the outcasts, the quiet minds. To the ones who never fit the lines. You are more than what they said, more than voices in your head. Hand in hand across the void, every tear and laugh deployed. In worlds we play, in truths we share. We heal each other everywhere. No throne of gold, no crown of flame, just human hearts behind the names. Not heroes born of flawless light, but those who stayed through every night. From the silence, a signal rose. Now a storm of beating souls. We are the lost, the strange, the seen. No longer trapped in between. Raise your voice, let it be known. Every screen's a stepping stone through boss fights, grief and healing scars. We shine like constellation stars. So if you're lonely, weird, unheard, if the world feels sharp, absurd, step through the dark. Take one small stand, you might just build a promised land. In the echo of shared dreams, we are more than we have been. Hello. Welcome in. Welcome back. It's our 4th day of true crime consecutive streams. Not our 4th day of consecutive streams because we also happen to stream on Saturday and Sunday, but we're back. We're doing streams all week. We still have another episode tomorrow, and today we're going to be talking about Clavicular. Now, I have a question for you guys who were here yesterday. Remember we were doing yesterday's episode about Vitaly? Remember that other guy that took the injection to his dick? Remember that guy? Now, did you know that that guy is 19?
19 years old. 19! Because I was preparing the episode for today, and I was like, holy crap, that dude's 19? Anyway. Yeah. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, we're gonna learn a lot about him today. I can tell I've traumatized Vixie with today's. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yes, you have. Yeah, I'm calling it cringe maxing. What the hell is this thing with calling everything maxing now? There's LooksMaxxing, and he's apparently, you know, has a friend who is built a frame maxing. Dude, Anyway, so he got in trouble with the law. That's why we're talking about him today. Although honestly, even if he hadn't gotten arrested recently, I would still figure out a way to talk about him because honestly, he's a walking crime about to happen, you know? He's a problem in many levels. So apparently he got caught. Drinking underage because he's not even 21. He's not even 21. And when they caught him, he had a fake ID in his wallet, as well as some drugs that he had no prescriptions for. Well, surprise, surprise. But yeah, he didn't get in a lot of trouble at all because he spent, you know, about 100,000 just pocket change for his lawyers, and ta-da! He's free. No consequences. I won't be home tonight because tomorrow's the date. Yes, that's right, Ashley. I hope you have lots of fun. I hope you have lots and lots of fun. We're gonna be planning some fun things for this weekend as well. It's Valentine's on Saturday, and a lot of lonely people out there. A lot of single people. So we're just gonna keep each other company. We're just gonna have fun. Drink our sorrows away. Young and naive with lots of money, a classic. I don't even know, dude. We're probably not going into like who his parents are and stuff, but how the hell does he have that much money at 19 years old, having like that house that we saw yesterday? Pretty sure that's his house, right? And like he just has access to 100,000 to give to a lawyer for getting in trouble. So, you can tell these people they're not worried about getting caught because they can just spend that on a lawyer and poof, everything is gone. It just so happened that Vitaly was in the Philippines when his stuff happened because otherwise he would have been cleared instantly as well. Anyway, guys, let's get into it. This guy's a terrible influence. Yes, and that should be a crime by itself. I can't even, it's so much crap. Like the way that the guy was talking about, like yesterday, like the women in the room and everything, and just the way that he was like living his life was just so disturbing to me. Like my jaw was on the floor by the end of last episode yesterday, which wasn't even on this guy, it was on Vitaly. But I just couldn't believe these people are living these lives. Anyway, let me show you when he got arrested. Let me show you.
Clavicular, the LooksMaxxing influencer, famous for
the LooksMaxxing influencer. Influencer is a very key word here because yes, he influences people. He is a public figure. People look up to him for some reason. Younger and more naive people than him.
being quite extreme in his methods, has been arrested. Allegedly, he tried to get into a bar using a fake ID during his live stream, which led to his arrest. Upon being arrested,
he does these things live every single day, and he gets caught once and he gets away with it.
He was searched, and it seems illicit substances were found on his person. For those who know Clavicular, this isn't terribly surprising. He's gone on the record for using meth as an appetite suppressant, and consistently takes steroids to enhance his appearance. It's the full Monty as far as looking good at any cost goes, following cautionary tales such as
I found it hilarious that he mentioned this movie because we saw it recently and a lot of you loved it. Which has a lot to do with the whole concept of LooksMaxxing, right? This is basically Demi Moore taking the LooksMaxxing to an extreme, right? Entering a whole other body.
The substance, which explores what happens when LooksMaxxing is taken to the extreme.
That was
Instead
cool.
of talking about eating a healthy diet.
But dude, look at his face here. There's an interview that we're gonna go through where he says, a lot of people who are into bodybuilding focus on their bodies, right? And he's like, oh, but you should focus on your face. And that's why he hammers his chin and uses meth and all these other crazy ways to get his face to look this chiseled, right? And like, but his face does not look healthy. And he also does not look 19. Is that not a problem?
And exercising frequently, Clavicular has taken the extreme route and champions simply taking drugs to get the body he wants, even in—
I wouldn't say his face is decomposing. You know, a lot of people have textured skin. Like, you know, that's not the biggest deal. I don't think he was necessarily decomposing because of all the crap he puts in his body. But he does not look good. He doesn't. I know that some people think he looks good. I don't think he looks good.
encouraging others to do the same.
You go to the gym every day?
No, I haven't gone to the gym in like 2 weeks.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You eat healthy?
No.
Seriously?
No, not at all. I eat fast food every day.
So why are you so buff?
Testosterone.
The thing is, these tactics do seem to work for him in the sense that they get him attention.
Do you do anything healthy at all? Like go to the gym and eat healthy? No. No. Then why do you look like that? Why do you look so buff? Oh, it's testosterone.
Online. His beliefs tap into incel culture with the idea that a person's looks determine their worth in the world, and by taking drugs and getting plastic surgery, one can drastically change their own life for the better. That's not to say improving oneself isn't a good idea, however, there's a reason why going to the gym, or playing sports and socializing, or eating healthily is encouraged by medical experts in order to—
Clavicular still cannot talk to women. Honestly, we saw this yesterday. Hey, Azzy Poo. Oh, you had to refresh? That's frustrating. Usually YouTube is really good at that. But yeah, we saw him talk to women yesterday. I can pretty much confirm that he does not know how to talk to them.
to look good rather than resorting to taking drugs. Those activities come with byproducts such as discipline, reduced social anxiety, and higher energy levels, all of which tend to make a person more attractive in the long run. Clavicular also got into the public spotlight recently due to his appearance with other figures often regarded as extreme, especially after they appeared in a club singing along to Ye's song HH, and since that moment there seems to have been a falling out between the group. Clavicular's simply become a meme because he understands that using outrage and shock content is a way to generate attention, and it's important to note that this very video is contributing to that, as his arrest will only put more eyes and ears on him. In short, Clavicular being arrested for attempting to use a fake ID to get into a bar and then being caught with an illicit substance on his person is not terribly surprising for a guy who has made his career off of encouraging others to look good by taking drugs, as he has made it clear that he's not interested in sustainable long-term thinking in regards to his own health. What meme would you guys like me to give a lesson in next?
Alright, so let me get into LooksMaxxing, right? If we search it on Google, they say LooksMaxxing is the process of maximizing one's physical attractiveness through various methods ranging from improved grooming and fitness to, in some cases, extreme interventions like surgery or jaw exercises. He goes a little further than jaw exercises, by the way. If you can call that an exercise. Originating in the 2010s, really, on male-focused forums, the trend. Okay, that is when he was like younger, because he does say in an interview that he started at 14, because you know when your body develops too much, it's too late, so he had to start early. Imagine his parents having to deal with that. The trend gained widespread popularity on TikTok in the 2020s, with critics noting its linked to body dysmorphia. Yeah, probably. Thank you, Ashley. All right, so this is the other guy that I was talking about. This is the guy that's frame maxing, not LooksMaxxing, but frame maxing. They're both trying to do the same thing, but this guy is like different. Let me show you. I I don't know. This is another guy, of course, also a freaking Kick streamer. They're all on Kick. These guys are all on freaking Kick and all hanging out with each other. You're basically seeing the same party from 5 different angles, right? So this guy here is frame maxing. He's called androgenic. And that's what he looks like.
Yeah, I'm pretty lean right now.
They're all just looking in the mirror at the gym.
Way better than mine. And then hit the yeah, I'm pretty lean right now.
The big body, tiny head.
Drugs when I'm not. He's like, oh, well,
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, though, right? Because apparently this guy decided to not do drugs because of Clavicular. Let's see what he has to say.
ripped and outmog all you guys and do crystal meth.
But you didn't do that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
He actually talked me out of it. He's like, dude, I was like, dude, I'm doing this because everyone thinks I'm doing drugs when I'm not. He's like, oh, well, dude, if you don't want to do it, then don't do it if it's not you. And I was like, you know what, Clavicular, you're right.
He's right.
He talked me out of the meth.
Clavicular. See, look at that.
Bro, I had a freaking rock coming. And I was like, you guys want to see drugs? You know? Ripped. And
Okay, this is just entirely, this is a joke. They're just joking about doing crystal meth. It's all a joke. And what is up with that bling bling around? It looks ridiculous. Did you put your family photo inside one of those? It looks stupid. That big ass dog bling bling? Dude, make a tattoo of something. That looks terrible. Anyway, so the article specifically about the arrest says he is 20. But there are an interview. He might have been 20 at this point, but not very long ago that he turned 20. Oh, Alex, thank you so much for another month of Jiggle Appreciator. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Welcome in. The Scottsdale Police Department took Peters, which is, Clavicular, into custody on Saturday night on suspicion of possessing a forged instrument, using a fake ID to enter a liquor establishment, and possessing dangerous drugs. This case was turned down due to no reasonable likelihood of conviction. Okay. An MCAO spokesperson from the KTAR News. That's all the information we can provide at this time. Under the name Clavicular, Peters is a well-known social media influencer within the LooksMaxxing community, which is centered around the idea of maximizing physical appearance, sometimes through extreme and potentially dangerous means. Yeah, but let's not stop him, Court documents said bike patrol officers noticed Peters walking around Old Town Scottsdale around 11 p.m. with a large group and cameras following him. He attempted to get into Cake nightclub before walking away. He was seen going around the corner to Casa Amigos and was allowed inside, according to the probable cause statement for his arrest. Knowing Peters was under 21, officers asked nightclub staff to remove him. The issue is that he was, During the arrest, police found a fraudulent ID that falsely indicated Peters was over 21 in his wallet and 2 loose prescription pills in his pocket. Police identified one pill as Adderall, a stimulant for treating ADHD that contains amphetamines, and the other as Anavar, a anabolic steroid. Peters did not have prescription for either drug. So these guys are just taking all these drugs with no prescriptions for them, no doctor guidance whatsoever by taking all these drugs, right? And he started the process of LooksMaxxing at 14, probably likely also not being seen by any doctor while he was doing all these things. He was just following these weird-ass forums. This is what he has to say about his arrest.
Can you deal with her stuff outside? All right, peace. Hold on. All right.
That's crazy, Deadly.
No, I don't know what she's
Isn't
doing.
it-
She's
isn't
like
it
asking me
so
questions about
insane?
the parking and shit. But we got a new crib, boys. New crib. Come on, fit check.
He's
Not
got a
that
new
bad.
crib.
Desktop? Come on. Of course I'm doing desktop. Dude, are you retarded? Go IRL where? Bro, I'm on fucking, like, I'm under investigation. You realize that people are trying to throw me in prison for no fucking reason whatsoever.
People are throwing you in prison for no reason whatsoever. It's like a conspiracy, dude.
But, we should.
My enemies are putting me in prison.
You know, and after the trial, you know, I just wanna play it safe. You know, part-time streamer, yeah, exactly. I just had to get my shit in order with all the legal stuff, but I'm a little bit more confident in the situation now.
It really is, Hemi. I'm not sure if you saw my episode from yesterday, but it really concerned me. By the end of that episode, I was like, holy crap, what are we turning into? It really, really concerned me. It was very disturbing to watch.
Is what I'll say, because I basically hired the New York fucking Yankees of lawyers or whatever. I got the New York Yankees. I've spent probably $100,000 on legal retainers easily this week. So yeah, it's going pretty well with that, you know. So we'll figure it out.
The sound is terrible too. I'm hearing like people walking around and he's just like hitting his foot on something, or it's terrible.
Arizona's trying to fuck me, but
Arizona's trying
we'll
to.
see what
Okay,
happens.
yeah. Do they not know who you are, Clavicular? Did you tell them who you are when you got arrested? Did you tell them who you are? Like, they can't do that to you. It's Clavicular they're taking to jail. What? Come on now. Don't you know who I am?
We'll see exactly what happens, but I got to be careful pretty much until I get this shit sorted fully.
You should be careful not to go to public establishments while you're not allowed to drink because you're under 21. Yeah, that seems pretty simple to me. It's a very simple rule to follow that everybody else has to follow too, but somehow you don't. You don't. They're trying to screw you over, right? The system.
Green, bang, yes. Oh my god. Okay, chat, relax. But we're in a pretty nice crib up until we could get the fuck out of the state. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but
yeah, it's the state. The problem is the state. He has to go to another state that is more kind to under 21 people trying to drink, have fake IDs, and have drugs or take drugs that they don't have prescriptions for.
that's all the
What
information
state would
I
that
have
be?
Is I got some good defense, you know, so
Oh yeah, really?
it should be okay. Hopefully everything's all good. Is what I'm gonna say. What's up? Oh yeah? Good stuff. House tour? No, house tour is a easy way to get this place doxxed. So we're gonna not do a house tour. At least not for a little bit, but dude, the house is crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Did you post any of that shit on Snap? Okay.
Anyway, that's his feelings on getting arrested. Now, we're going to get to Turkey Tom's documentary of Clavicular, which fortunately is like a month old, and he's gonna get into this whole LooksMaxxing situation. Hopefully he can like get into some of his past as well. And then I also have an interview where he talks about all this taking meth, and because he's pretty forward about all the stuff that he does. He also says, I do all these things, but you shouldn't, because it's a very delicate process to put a hammer to your chin and take meth and not get addicted and all that stuff. It's a very delicate process that not everybody should get into, but he can, obviously, because it's him, you know, it's Clavicular. He knows what he's doing. Following forums, obviously. He knows what he's doing, but other people should be very careful, and he does not suggest anybody does. But if anyone were to suggest he put an injection in his dick so they can stay hard for 3 to 4 hours, then absolutely, dude. He doesn't know what's in there, but pff, let's go, right? Let's go. That's the kind of guy he is, you know?
Blogging, LooksMaxxing. These are all terms we take for granted as part of popular internet Zoomer lexicon. But not too long ago,
I don't
these
even know
terms
about
were reserved for a few niche boards on websites that the general public had no knowledge of. And these ideas have only become more popular with the rise of a new figure, Clavicular, a 19-year-old streamer whose entire philosophy rests on the idea that looks matter. And if you're not using his methods, you're gonna be left behind. Clav is definitely an interesting guy, and his popularity is more reflective of the culture that created him rather than his own personal successes or shortcomings. At the same time, he probably needs some serious help. And while on one hand I do feel bad for him, and on another he's pretty funny, how much sympathy can be extended to someone who tells his fans that steroids and meth are the way to ascend? This is the story of Clav, the world's most popular LooksMaxxer. Clavicular was born in December of 2005 to a wealthy family in the northeastern United States. Instead of public school, he attended an all-boys private high school, which just goes to show that his upbringing already set him apart from the average person. But even among his peers, his interests would diverge completely from the typical student. While most kids were studying and playing Call of Duty, Clav was getting into LooksMaxxing. As its name suggests, LooksMaxxing is the idea of improving your looks.
Dude, that is crazy.
Studying and playing Call of Duty, Clav was getting into LooksMaxxing. As its name suggests,
what? That's not the same guy. There's no way. How do his eyes change? Like that's not the same person. That's absolutely insane, dude. Holy crap. It's just like, yeah, it's like a whole facial reconstruction. Like, you're not even proud of where you came from anymore at this point, right? You're just like, I'm gonna be a whole new person. Screw you, mom and dad. Holy crap. Hey, Tech! How you doing? You gonna get into LooksMaxxing too?
LooksMaxxing is the idea of improving your looks. The origins of this term are somewhat difficult to place, but today, the term is most commonly attributed to LooksMaxxing.
Is LooksMaxxing like the next level of being an incel? I feel like both communities are very similar.
.org. Clav began browsing the site while in high school,
Okay, so that's what he looked like when he was 14?
Supposedly coming to a personal epiphany. Looks matter above all else. If you don't have friends, it's because you're not good looking. Want to succeed in relationships? You need to be good looking. You want a dream job? Well, you also need to be good looking for that. Some basic methods for LooksMaxxing are pretty typical. Go to the gym, eat a balanced diet, get some sunlight.
Top tier looker, yeah, but you're a natural, Tech. You have to make sure to tell people that you're a natural. So there's no need for LooksMaxxing, because if you put LooksMaxxing into the equation, it's like you develop this for yourself, you know? No, you are a natural. That's like genetics right there, you know? You can actually thank your mom and dad and be like proud of who you are, you know, and not change a thing. Just natural.
So you don't look like you just rolled out of a coffin. But these are all things that people have been doing anyway. Your dad probably told you to go to the gym instead of playing Halo all night. Or maybe that was just me. But some LooksMaxxers are in favor of using more drastic methods. Clav claims that he was just 14 years old when he ordered testosterone off the internet for the first time. Obviously, testosterone is a naturally occurring hormone in all of us, but
yeah, he wanted more. I don't have enough testosterone in my teenage years. I need more. And that has no other consequences, right? No. But who cares about other consequences as long as you look good?
Clav was taking it to accelerate.
Because, guys, the way to get success and girls and whatever you want in life is looks. It doesn't have to do with your brain, your knowledge, your ability, nothing like that. That's why you can throw all of that out the window by using meth and doing all these extreme things to your body. It's fine if your brain suffers a little bit, you know, because you are going to look good, and that's what matters in life.
His progress in the gym. Or, as he puts it, I started roids about 2 weeks after I started lifting. Why? Because natty gains are slow and gay.
What's up? I just want to give a
basolabial folds.
comprehensive overview of SARMs, or selective androgen receptor modules, what I think about them.
Dude, he's talking like some kind of scientist here. Like this is him at 14. He's like, yo, I read a forum. These are terms you gotta know for the LooksMaxxing.
My experience with them and if you should take them. Now, SARMs are not as researched as anabolic steroids, so we don't currently know the long-term side effects, so that risk is already present.
We don't know the long-term side effects, but it's okay, because, you know, what matters is your looks. Gotta look good.
To make things simple, SARMs are essentially gourmet steroids. They're marketed as having less side effects than the stuff bodybuilders used to put up their butts, but at the same time, they do suppress natural testosterone production, which can have some pretty noticeable side effects on your body. If you've ever seen a male bodybuilder develop fleshy man boobs, it's because they took steroids for some period of time and it messed up their hormones. But most bodybuilders are taking these performance enhancers after puberty has ended. Clav was starting them before he was even halfway through his natural development as a man. Based on his video, he's well aware of the risks, but it's a trade-off he was comfortable with because he claims to have gained 55 pounds of muscle in 12 weeks. It's also worth noting that this video is partially his own personal experiences, but it's also a promotion of these substances to anyone who stumbled across it. He recommends what to take if you're fat and want to lose weight, what to take if you're skinny and want to gain muscle, and how to do it most effectively.
Now, there is a bit of an increased libido. Like, you might catch yourself, you know, going on Tinder at 12 a.m. You know, there's been times when I was on SARMs where I'd be on Tinder at 12 p.m., you know, swiping on these ugly ass, you know, let's not get...
This is a teenager.
Get into that, but
these videos are from 2022 and were seemingly recorded on the same day. During the rest of that year and 2023, there doesn't seem to be any significant online activity.
15 going on Tinder because he's on too much testosterone, and he's horny at 15.
From him, but that doesn't mean he was leaving internet life behind. You've probably heard at least one term like mogging, mewing, beta, alpha, and sigma males, red, blue, and black pills, virgin, Stacy, and Chad, among many others. What you probably don't know is that, like pretty much everything online nowadays, these terms originated in mostly right-wing forums and image boards from over a decade ago. Before LooksMaxx was popular, it had three spiritual predecessors: PUAHate.com, an anti-pickup artist forum, which mass shooter Elliot Rodger was at.
Closeted gay man. I mean, he loves hanging out with the homies much more than the girls, you know? That's for sure.
Active in. Sluthate.com, which was later renamed Red Pill Talk, and was once directly addressed by the inventor of mewing himself, Dr. Mike Mew.
The first response came from Incel Executioner. I do love some of the names you've got here.
And lookism.net, the latest and least relevant out of all of these. Many similar sites went the way of the dodo as their users found a more reliable place with faster servers that could host their discussions: Reddit. But in 2017, social media...
Where do I find these people nowadays? Where are they hanging out? Can you guys tell me? I need to find out where they're hanging out nowadays, because all these red pill like subreddits are all like banned now. Locale Universe.
Media companies led a massive crackdown on anything that was deemed online extremism. Among the many casualties was the shutdown of the subreddit
It still sells. What?
r/incels. On one hand, you had people saying that these communities were dangerous and needed to be purged from the web. But the opposing argument, apart from being in favor of freedom of speech generally, also had a foreboding warning. The idea that banning these communities from the general internet would cause a pressure cooker effect, where the people using them would just gather on more extreme platforms. And indeed, they did. The shutdown of r/incels instantly led to the creation of 4 different websites. Incels.is, which is a general forum for incels. Neats.net, created for people who are not in employment, education, or training.
Turkey Max is telling me where to go.
A site that allegedly provides instructions on how to, And finally, LooksMaxx.org. It's during 2024 that most of Clav's posts on this forum take place. One of the earliest posts I found is him replying to someone named Big Black Oily Booty, who claimed to be 15 years old. Clav replied to him saying, "Log out of this site and play with your friends. Don't ruin your mental development with autism." Unfortunately, this is advice that he himself
does he think he got autism from this?
Did not take. 1 month or so after his 18th birthday, he made a post saying he had already gone on 4 steroid cycles, with doses as high as 550 milligrams of testosterone weekly. For reference, the testosterone they give middle-aged men to get their T levels healthy tops out at 200. In the same post, he also notes that taking substances in the past had seriously affected his liver health, but this didn't seem to be a major concern for him. By age 16, he was spending—
Nobody can see the inside of his body, so who cares what state it's in, right? Nobody cares.
$700 per steroid cycle. But somewhat ironically, his drug use ranked pretty low in terms of bizarre methods he was using to supposedly improve his looks. While LooksMaxxers believe that your body is an important part of improving your looks, equally important is your face. Having a strong jawline, high cheekbones, and hunter eyes are heralded as the pinnacles of LooksMaxxing.
Hunter eyes?
Everyone talks about getting hunter eyes, and everyone talks about a positive canthal tilt, but no one tells the truth.
I'm sorry, some of these just look like girls, though. Am I wrong? Some of these look like girls. They're talking about looking more macho, more Chad-like, but they just look like girls.
Here's the full guide on how to actually get hunter eyes.
According to Clav, one of the methods he used was called thumb pulling, which entailed pulling the roof of his mouth outwards to widen his jaw. He also chewed gum, which supposedly helped his jawline as well. All of these are obviously unconventional, but the strangest method is bone smashing. The idea that by lightly hitting your face with a hammer or other object, you can create microfractures that, when healed, supposedly enlarge or strengthen the bones underneath.
I know it hurts, but that means it's working. That's the only indication. You have to push past the pain. Look at me.
While he acknowledges that the effects of bone smashing are most likely not permanent, he still claims that it swells up his face and makes him look more defined. Although I'm not sure I see much of a difference in this before and after, other than lighting. Now, one question you're probably asking after seeing all of this is, why? Clav was already a reasonably attractive person before any of this, and it was all due to genetics. Were the steroids, strange techniques, and thousands of dollars spent really worth it? I would argue no, especially since 2 major things he was seemingly ignoring were his mental well-being and his general social skills. In one post, he states that he dreads going to get haircuts because, as he puts it, "I'd rather look homeless than have to talk to someone for 30 minutes straight. God, I want a rope max."
I want a rope max? Dude, what is wrong with you? Holy crap, dude. I'm gonna be a handsome Hulk. Hemi, can you please just like share progress pictures, you know, so I can make my own documentary?
Even went as far as making—
You're no longer developing though, I'm pretty sure, Hemi, so I'm not sure it's gonna work for you. You have to be a developing teenager.
an entire thread about his crippling social anxiety.
Oh, this is actually pretty good. Let me check.
He even went as—
I dread talking to people IRL, avoid those awkward, meaningless exchanges. Here's how I say 50 words or less per day. And this was in 2024. I wake up 30 minutes earlier than I have to so that I don't have to see my parents in the morning. I get up at 6 a.m. for school, even though I don't start for like 2 hours after that. I just sit in my car and wait for it to start. Dude, there's so much wrong with you, but you're focused on your face. Don't walk into class first or last, both of which draw attention, which I don't want. You don't want attention. Yeah, that's very clear to me. You don't want attention. Okay, Clav. I just walk in the middle of the pack so nobody notices. Sit in the middle of the room, sitting in the back, may cause the teacher to cold call you, try to catch you, not paying attention. Sitting in the middle has allowed me to never get called on for a question the entire year.
Far as making an entire thread about his crippling social anxiety. I dread talking to people in real life, even if it's for 30 seconds. I'd do anything to avoid those awkward, meaningless exchanges. Here's how I say 50 words or less per day. I wake up 30 minutes earlier than I have to, so I don't have to see my parents in the morning. I get up at 6 a.m. for school, even though I don't start for like 2 hours after that. I just sit in my car and wait for it to start. Don't walk into class first or last, both of which draw attention, which I don't want. I just walk in the middle of the pack so no one notices. Sit in the middle of the room. Sitting in the back may cause the teacher to cold call you to try to catch you not paying attention. Sitting in the middle has allowed me to never get called on for a question the entire year. Keep eye contact with the teacher and divert your attention whenever she looks at you to another person. Also, never use your phone when you're not supposed to. She will go out of her way to embarrass you. Don't follow anyone on Instagram. This will make it awkward to walk by them. Am I supposed to greet this person now? I don't want to talk to you. Don't try to make small talk. Then, it is custom to greet people the next day. Just ignore everyone.
Never participate in class discussions.
Start counting
And that's why he's a streamer.
your words. You shouldn't be saying more than 50 to 100 words per day. I have gone entire days without speaking before. This should be your goal. When walking into a room, don't make eye contact with
anyone.
If I need to, just give them a nod and walk the other way. During lunch, I always sit in the library and fast, so that I don't have to go through the shame of eating lunch alone. This will cause social stigma. Don't be this kid. Just go somewhere else. When I get home, I try to go straight to my room without seeing my parents. I always greet my dog though, because I love her. This is the only female I will ever feel a connection to. I care greatly for my dog because she gets so happy when I come home from school. When I go to have my pre-workout meal, I eat it at an obscure time to avoid overlapping dinner with the rest of my family who are always home. At the gym, I always wear a hoodie and sweatpants, dark colors to be unapproachable. This is ideal. Never wear deodorant to the gym. No one asks you to work in, ever, if you smell really bad. Only do this at the gym, not anywhere else because it draws attention. When I get home, I go straight to my room to come on looksmaxx.org or incels.is for the rest of the night. Sometimes I watch a movie. I recommend you try to go an entire day doing your normal regime without talking. Whenever I talk, I give away my blue pill and reveal my mental issues. I used to have a therapist, but stopped going because of how dreadful it is. They constantly try to blue pill you.
Is he like making this stuff up? I feel like Turkey Tom is trolling at this point. Come on.
And warp your sense of reality. On one hand, I think some of this post is exaggerated to get attention from other people on the forum. One user would even reply simply stating, "This is what people on this website do," and then they complain they get no attention from women. At the same time, social anxiety might be something that affects him. In one post, he claims that in real life he's generally perceived as a pretty normal guy. He says he has no problem speaking to girls or giving class presentations. But whenever he posts on the forum, people immediately sense his social awkwardness. It almost seems like he cares more about users on this website liking him than people in his real life. On that same note, one strange pattern I notice with his posts are the complete contradictions. For example, he ends this one post with this sentence: "You guys who bang and jerk off multiple times a week disgust me." Okay, fair enough, I guess. In the same post, he says that he pumps and dumps girls bi-weekly, which
You guys might be right. He might be gay. He might be gay. It just doesn't fit his narrative. So he pretends he's not. Man, that moment where Vitaly stuck the needle in his dick might have been more important than we thought. Damn. And then for the entirety of the next hour or so, he spent the time being hard next to his buddies. Man, you guys might be right about this one.
I assume means he was having casual hookups with women every other week. But in another post just 2 days after, he says, I wind up gooning once every couple of days. Obviously, these posts are in complete conflict with each other. On one hand, he hates people who have sex and goon. On the other, he also does both of these things. Clav was trying his best to make it out of the hood at this point in his life.
Oh, was he actually like with a whiteboard behind him? Subhuman? Oh my god.
While he was attending high school and college, his academic pursuits seemed far less interesting to him than what was happening online. Which, to be honest, is one thing I definitely relate
This is his legacy, dude. LooksMaxxing is his legacy.
to him on. He had already started a TikTok account to show his transformations to the world and generate a little bit of conversation online about it. But he was still trying to create some separation between his real life and what was happening online. At one point, he shared his list of things to never talk about with normies. This includes seed oils and food dyes, asking for food to be cooked in grass-fed butter, JFK assassination, tap water filled with estrogen, COVID vaccines, Michelle Obama's gender, Volkswagen Tiguan, Hollywood pedophiles, women's right to vote, how epic 05 Tacomas are, saying the phrase based and red-pilled, Holocaust death count, crime statistics, homosexuals, Kanye West, weightlifting and macros, car modding, the word kek, race relations, and finally, Queen Cleopatra's race. Now, you may have some questions about many of these things, but if you're wondering about the Volkswagen Tiguan specifically, he says, I took a true Stacy on a date and ranted about how much I hate the Volkswagen
Oh my god, he actually talks like an incel. Holy crap.
Tiguan, which apparently dried her pussy out. Don't recommend talking about that. But as time passed, the line between his online activity and his normal life began to blur. In one post, he talks about how some girl he was talking to looked up his TikTok handle and from there found his account on LooksMaxx, along with the post where he talked about his dick size. On the forum, Clav's struggles with online dating are pretty well documented. He can be seen asking for help on what kind of pictures to put on his profile.
I get rated well on here, but get no likes and matches on. I get rated well on here? Dude, what is that? There's only dudes on here, man! What are you talking about? You get rated well on here? What do you guys do for pics? I don't go outside. How do I cope? Oh my,
to get better.
This was literally 2 years ago.
Matches, while also complaining about how incapable he is of holding any kind of conversation with the women he does end up matching with. This would be a persistent issue for him.
You legit have to talk about the most boring stuff ever? What's your favorite concert? I just want to have sex and not talk about water. I literally can't talk to women for more than 1 minute without blowing my... Dude, that is crazy.
Kind of conversation with the women he does end up matching with. This would be a persistent issue for him, to the point where he made a YouTube video about it.
My biggest point of contention recently has been online dating. I don't know where I'm going wrong, which is why it's so frustrating. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. And there's just no real way to be logical and when you're texting these girls. There's no feedback system. They'll just stop texting you out of nowhere. Like, you'll just be texting a girl, having a normal conversation, just no reply. Casper the Ghost. At that point, it's not like, okay, well, this is what it's not like a game where you could go and do some like game film after the fact and say, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that, maybe I pushed it over the line. Just be a perfectly normal conversation.
He is lying to himself, dude. He is lying to himself. If you liked your homies so much, dude, just, you know, they have a hole for you too, man.
Well, I could be... What did I do? How about that? How about you do me the courtesy of, after all these conversations and text messages that I don't even want to... You think I want to talk about your hobbies? Bitch, I want to get in your pants, goddammit. And I want to convince
Do you think he's doing the Bonnie Blue thing? Do you think he's just trying to be controversial for attention? Or do you think that's really him? There's no way that's really him, right? He's so much more articulate in the interview that we're gonna watch later.
It's you that I'm not trying to f you, which is why I'm having the conversation.
And to be honest, I think
oh my god, he talks like such an incel. Just that around alone makes me think he shouldn't date anyone. He's literally just saying he doesn't care about any conversation with women.
some of this experience is probably relatable to a lot of guys. What hopefully isn't relatable is
Dude, that's it. It's relatable. Apparently this is how a lot of guys think, and it's just relatable. He's just catering to an audience, most likely. He's not that stupid.
that in some of his other posts, his conclusion was basically to give up on dating altogether. This really comes to a head with one thread simply titled, "Masturbating Mogs Sex with Girls."
Okay, what exactly is Mogs? Is it just Trumps? Does this mean masturbating trumps sex with girls? It's better? Masturbating is better than sex with girls. Is that what he says? Is that what that means? Why can't you just use the proper wording?
I'd rather goon 24/7 than have to cope and jester on dating apps or cold approach a dumb girl. Conversing with low IQ primitive women is insane.
Dude, I have a video that I went through on my face reveal stream when I was at when the incel subreddit was still a thing. I was reading one and it sounded exactly like this. We were reading a post on subreddit. It sounded exactly like this. Exact same rhetoric.
Insanely difficult for me, an autist, and I can't fake the interaction for over 5 minutes. Pussy doesn't feel as good as my hand death gripping my cock on my triple monitor setup. Girls give you AIDS and take your money. Plus, when I jerk off, I can sit on my hand till it's numb and pretend a blonde Stacy is jerking me. How poetic.
God, I'm gooning.
It's probably worth noting here that taking steroids can also screw up your sex drive, with some drugs causing it to go through the roof, while others will cause it to plummet to the point where erections are basically impossible. By this
That's why you take, you guessed it, dick injections. Yeah.
points,
That'll do
it's
the
clear
job.
that his LooksMaxxing had very little to do with being successful with women, and instead, it had warped into some strange mixture of vanity and personal obsession, and his methods would once again become increasingly bizarre. He began taking an interest in plastic surgery. Some posts detail him dropping some money on small things like cyst removals, while others had him asking other forum users how he could perform surgery on himself. And depending on what you
Dude, stop.
qualify as plastic surgery,
I want to find videos of surgery so I can self-perform. Is there an archive on a medical site?
he's actually done it on himself multiple times. While I can't show it on YouTube, there's multiple videos of him injecting himself with something called lemon bottle, which is a controversial substance that supposedly dissolves fat in your body. In time, this became a regular part of his regimen, along with another method, using PDO threads. From what I can tell, PDO threads are basically the temporary tattoo equivalent of facelifts. Small, dissolvable strings that go under your skin and stimulate collagen production while making your face look tighter. I can't speak as to how risky or effective they are, but I also don't think it's good to do it as much as Clav does.
We're probably gonna do 4 more to get maximum hunter eyes.
And these methods also don't just stop at improving his face card. He claims to have injected lemon bottle into the base of his shaft, as well as sticking PDO threads into it. I did 8 threads in total today. I only went about a 1/4 inch in to mog the BBCs on the forum. I don't think anyone has ever written something like that before in all of human history, so I guess I have to give him points for being original. Even other people on the site told him this was a horrible idea, as basically every reply is calling him stupid or mourning the loss of his penile function. Since we're on the topic, he also does dick ups, which are exactly what they sound like. You awaken the ancient one and you flex it up as hard as possible for 4 sets of 12. And to progress the exercise, you can add a hand towel on.
Yo, dick ups? What? Do you also do those at the gym? Is there a machine for it?
On top of it. According to Clav, he was up to 4 hand towels and had gained half an inch
4 hand towels? Now tell me you can do that, guys. Tell me you can do 4 freaking hand towels. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
of girth. Of course, the LooksMaxxing journey never ends, and even this stuff is really just the tip of the iceberg. Clav made several posts about wanting to get some more serious plastic surgeries. He explored getting an allarplasty, which alters the appearance of your nostrils, a rhinoplasty, which changes the bridge of your nose, and of course, Botox insertions. As for Botox, he didn't want to get it done by a doctor. Instead,
Botox, he's freaking 19.
he was interested in doing it himself, asking members of the
18 at this point, when he was asking about Botox. Third-party source exists for this, mainly want the Botox? And that's the thing too, he doesn't want to go through any of the legit stuff. He wants to do it all himself. His parents probably don't allow him or whatever.
Forum where he could get it online. But eventually, he went and had it done by a professional.
Okay.
Which is why his face now has kind of a stiff, emotionless appearance. It's at this point that we begin to see the line.
No, I think he legit doesn't have emotions. I think he legit does not have emotions. Right, Mike? He is going to look interested in 20 years because he's not going to stop. You just know he's not going to stop. He's going to keep this stuff up. And while he's doing all this, he still says he takes meth, right? So that's going to have his effects as well. And I think his parents at some point found out he was doing testosterone when he was 14, 15. So they took it away for 2 weeks or 2 months or something. And he really felt the consequences of that. He hated the time without testosterone.
Being crossed. As Clav goes from exclusively
our very first Fallout Ghoul. Yeah, I can see it. Expressive faces, yes, Maiden. Like smiles and expression and holy crap, you're so right about that. I just don't find him attractive whatsoever.
Affecting himself with his antics to potentially affecting other people in a variety of ways. One of his biggest threads from this era features him taking pride in banging a girl who is in a relationship. What's funny?
Oh, that's great stuff. Me, Giga Chad, brutally cucked chick. Black pill wins again. You're never the first and only option. You're getting mocked. I'm getting mocked. Life is a meme.
Or more strange about it, depending on how you look at it, is that he recorded audio of her crying about it afterwards to own her. Besides this,
he is the incel. He is the incel. The Chad incel. He was Hemi.
he frequently expressed his pride about purposely tricking people on TikTok into doing fake LooksMaxxing techniques. This would be taken to the next level when, after enrolling in college, Clav was outright planning to start doing Botox injections for other students to make a quick buck. Funnily enough, before he expressed his intention to do this, he was concerned about being kicked out if the college ever found his social media accounts, only to turn around and make plans to run a plastic surgery operation out of his dorm. He also made some other threat announcing that he won't be paying taxes. I guess that one is kind of based, I can't lie. Whether true or not, it seems like his concern about being kicked out of college is performative. If anything, it seemed he was looking forward to it, as it would give him an excuse to completely give up on trying to live a normal life so that he can go all in on being an online personality, as he was already trying to do at this point through his TikTok and YouTube. Clav found himself
Invisalign. He's also doing GLP-1s, which is Ozempic, so that he doesn't have to eat or whatever. So weird. He has to stay lean, he says.
Not being invited out by anyone, and even when he did get with a woman, he had to be on multiple drugs to be able to perform due to his severe erectile dysfunction, because of course he had ED.
That's why he was so quick to take that dick injection yesterday.
He was also posting TikToks during this time period with captions like, 99% of people are utterly repulsive to even look at. They should be grateful when I'm in their presence. I'll make a brief detour here to cover one of the stranger oddities in Clav's story. I lean toward it not being true, but given that he later walked back and
Dude, I have to change my title to Incel Maxxing. Holy crap.
Edited the thread to erase it, I honestly can't be sure. Fortunately for us, the original thread was maintained via a quote in one of the replies, and although the overall details aren't
Okay, so back in sophomore year, I was texting a girl that I liked, gesture maxing hard. Oh god. Just like this other guy does to white Stacy's on TikTok with a bunch of blue pill nonsense. Like your average 16-year-old. Aren't you glad I found all these? Dude, I can't with this guy. I don't know what I was doing, to be honest. She was way out of my league as a weak MTN, whatever that is at the time. But I sent her, was screenshotted and posted all over social media. Here's the pic, super cringy. I don't know why I did this. Still haunts me at 3 a.m.
really important. The story basically goes that a girl he liked started dating a Chad. So his response was to wait for her outside her house and literally flash her naked in a trench coat. The girl was startled and dropped her phone as she ran away, which Clav proceeded to pick up, post a picture of his balls to her Snapchat, and then Venmo himself $250. Again, this is what Clav is claiming in the post. It could easily be a tall tale, but in any case, that's simultaneously hilarious and horrifying.
Boom, I jumped out naked in a trench coat?
At this point, Clav had already soured so much on the idea of college that he began to make threads recommending that instead of spending $250,000 on education, it's better to take that money and spend it all on plastic surgeries to be an influencer, which is basically a projection of his own aspirations, as he was already saving for a $25,000 surgery anyway. Another traumatic event that may have contributed to his hatred for education is the piss
Mog incident.
What is that?
I'll let him tell it in his own words. I went to the bathroom to pee before lunch. I didn't really have to go. I just wanted to do it proactively, so I wouldn't have to go later.
Right, of course, as anyone does, yeah, before a road trip, right?
I'm extremely piss shy. I hate the idea of peeing next to someone at a urinal. It feels so embarrassing, and the pee never comes out. Anyone else have this? So I always go to the stall to pee. This time it's me and this BBC. He walks into the stall next to me. I start my pee stream, and it's kinda quiet and weak. I can tell the BBC is laughing at my subhuman stream. He whips it out and produces the most girthful and powerful stream I've ever experienced. Mogs me to Gandhi with his beautiful, luscious stream. I truly want to end it. Indeed, that is a fate worse than death. Clav was clearly becoming more serious about his LooksMaxxing efforts now, as he started taking more drugs, including—
He had such a powerful stream, I was so jealous. He has piss stream issues. He was comparing his flow, man. He was comparing his flow. I'm dying.
A daily dose of erectile dysfunction pills, and looking into preemptively taking osteoporosis meds to try to grow his bones. At the same
Osteoporosis meds? Oh my god.
time, his online activity and his real life once again began to—
How did he never end up in the hospital with some severe consequence of these drugs?
Mixed together. He was keeping lidocaine, a local anesthetic, in his bedroom so that he could numb himself while performing his procedures. His mom found it and was not very pleased. She stole the package of lidocaine, and I'm losing—
Dude, I want an interview with the mother. Holy crap.
My mind right now. I spent $40 and she took it because it's dangerous. I tried to lie and she went on a blue pill rant about how I'm not a doctor. I'm genuine.
Dude, he cares so much about this community. There's no way he's not still keeping contact with the forum, right? He has to be more careful now because he's a public figure. So I don't know how he does it, but he's still gotta bro out with the rest of his incel buddies, right? Somehow.
Genuinely seething and raging like you wouldn't believe right now. Now I have to find a way to buy it without them knowing. As his parents started to get wise to his schemes, he got a job as a bouncer so that he could make his own money, and then made a plan to order steroids without anyone, not even his parents.
I'm so confused, guys. this guy 2 years ago was trying to put together $25,000 for a plastic surgery procedure. And now, 2 years later, he is spending $100,000 on lawyers and hanging out with Vitaly and Aiden Ross. Like, what happened? I think I saw this theory about this, like, rich guy funding him. It could be something like that, right? Because there's no, something's off. It doesn't make sense. Like his parents are not allowing to have him to have whatever life he wants, even if they are super rich. Right, Azipoo? I mean, there's something really shady going on here, right?
Finding out. With this newfound ability to blast away without a care in the world, it's at this point that he actually came to terms with how far he had taken
It's called social media? Well, yeah, but like clearly he had, it's not that hard. I mean, I've been, maybe not doing social media, but I've been a content creator for 10 years. Of course, I'm not LooksMaxxing. But he was already making content, as you can see, with a whiteboard and explaining how everything works in order for you to have those perfect quote unquote features. He was already doing this for a while, but he only launched like last year. And it just feels like a bit too quick. His content was funding him. I really feel like somebody just backed him like real hard. I still have to look into this theory, but the person that I got the theory from was saying that he was getting, like, on his first month of streaming, he was getting a guy donating over $150,000 in 1 month. So, like, I'm not sure if that's his secret sponsor or if there's something else going on. But there's something, it feels a little weird.
LooksMaxxing. Was all of this really worth it? The hundreds of posts to strangers online.
Yeah, exactly. He does have friends in high places that can sort of help him launch, right? But it feels like there's something else.
The constant worrying about people in real life finding out about his strange habits, his parents' disappointment in his behavior, he decided it was time to just give it all up, to walk away. And that's the end of the—
And the thing is, yeah, he cannot fully be his incel self online, right? He has to sort of like play a character.
Video. Just kidding. He started taking Tren, one of the most infamous anabolic steroids, due to how absolutely insane its effects are. He even started promoting it on the forum. When someone claiming to be 14 years old using the site asked what drugs they should use, Clavicular gave him a detailed list of what he thinks he should take, with this supposed 14-year-old simply replying, "Thank
Arrest
you."
this man.
Obviously, anyone can just lie about their age on any website, so it's impossible to know if this was truly a kid or not, but Clav himself had now gone from someone who was socially awkward and wanted to improve his looks in early high school to a legal adult who was promoting harmful steroid use to children. Keep in mind, during this time period, Clav was downright bragging that he didn't even lift. He just took steroids and then got 5 times the results of, quote, natural subhuman dogs.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
His disdain for gym bros is so strong that he scoffed at how they pose in the gym's mirror.
Really? Really? Do you know? Well, we saw you do exactly that at the beginning of the stream today.
Bros are retarded. I just flex in a handicapped bathroom, if anything. Clav's ability to freewheel his steroid cycle and also still attending classes created a bit of a golden age in terms of his posts. And there are a lot of funny threads from this period. For example, there's one where he recommends self-induced laryngitis as a means to achieve a mager voice, as well as his brave declaration.
Oh my god.
That asking people for pictures of their penis is not gay as long as it's to check for aesthetics.
Of course. Yeah, obviously.
As far as his own, he provided updated measurements, claiming that his routines had produced an increase of 0.75 inches. Although I do wonder if he's still getting piss-mogged in the bathroom. There's also one instance of him asking some guy what his mom's poop smelled like, which I'm not really sure about the motivation behind. I guess not every post can be—
What it smell like?
gem, which includes his response to a thread asking LooksMaxxing users what they think about predator catchers on YouTube, with Clav himself replying, "Awful, bro. It's literal entrapment to ask incels to fuck, even if they are underage. They never got that treatment, so it's unexpected to them." He felt so strongly about this topic that he even went as far as to make an entire thread about it. Although it is worth noting that in the thread, he does say he thinks texting minors inappropriately is wrong. Regardless of whatever was happening on the forum, as long as that was the only place he was posting, Clav knew that his reach would be limited. So, as terms like mogging and mewing became more popular parts of the modern internet's vocabulary, he began exploring new avenues to become a bona fide internet celebrity. In June 2024, we have one of the first instances of Clav going viral online with this picture, which was reposted to Reddit and then Twitter after he had first posted it to the LooksMaxx forum. Now, if you've been on 4chan or other sites for a long time, you might be thinking to yourself that you've seen this way before June 2024. That's because Clav's picture is most likely a rehash of this old meme from the 4chan fit board, which was also reposted a ton over the years. But Clav's version would see a much more widespread appeal, getting nearly 12 million views on Twitter and bringing him a lot closer to his goal of becoming an online personality. Besides that, he was also getting some interesting results in terms of his LooksMaxxing. Despite having to take 3 different meds to treat his erectile dysfunction and use a penis pump, he claims he slept with nearly 100 women. Unfortunately, this came with the side effect of being seen as someone who will say anything and do anything in order to have sex with as many women as possible. After a few months, it was increasingly hard to continue picking up girls from his school. Naturally, this led him to go back to doing what he does best, bragging and arguing with random people on the forum to prove that he's an ascended Chad. And although I thankfully haven't stumbled across it, he claims that he's posted pictures of himself having sex on the forum. Now I think is as good a time as any to talk about what it means to ascend. There's an idea within LooksMaxxing that at some point you have basically achieved your ultimate goal of being at the highest possible level of physical attractiveness, at which point you can mog or look better than anyone around you.
I don't really give a shit about getting girls. I just
Okay.
want to mog. Like mog. Do you guys mogging? It means basically like looking better than someone. Like so you want to mog like people.
Dude, he is so into himself, man. He just wants to look better than everybody else in the room. That is his whole life goal, man. That is so sad. What is going to happen to him when he starts losing some of these features? When he gets older? That is so sad.
Like, dude, like, because at the end of the day, like with girls, you could just have game status. It's just like everyone could do it at the end of the day. But to actually mog, like you gotta be either genetically blessed or really work for it. So that's what I'm trying to do.
You may have noticed that despite having entered college, there's basically no information on what he was actually trying to get a degree in. That's because it probably didn't matter to him at all.
It didn't.
The most I was able to find in direct relation to him going to college was when he made a thread saying you could get college loans and then use them to get plastic surgery. Although this is just one of many threads he's made about getting loans for plastic surgery.
Oh my god, put this guy on financial audit. Oh my god. Check out where his money's gone, dude.
Finally, after months of doing nothing but having fun, his mom once again found his roid stash. But this time, he managed to convince her to let him keep it with the argument that he's an adult and paid for all of it himself. However, it's really important to say that simply calling it a roid stash is not really correct. While there were plenty of roids in there, Clav points out that there was 1 kilogram of pregab. What he's referring to is the medication pregabalin, which is used to treat epilepsy and anxiety, which he had been taking in order to chemically make himself low inhib. So he was basically taking it to feel less self-conscious and high anxiety.
Dude.
From the first day he went to college, he was dosing himself with pregabalin.
The self-medicating that people do nowadays is insane. Oh my god.
and baclofen. Now, unlike pre-gab, which has more psychological effects, baclofen is a straight-up muscle relaxant that, while not a benzo, has similar withdrawal results because of how strong it can be. His reason for taking these is so that he can cold approach girls constantly, as he claims he's unable to do so otherwise. Interestingly, he eventually evolved his stack to also include beer. From now on, I will drink a beer of some kind every 90 minutes. I haven't decided which one I'll drink, but more than likely an IPA since it's high calories. The ethanol will intoxicate me to make me low inhib and happy. The intoxication will be subtle, so it's good to do at work and you can still be giga productive. I'll just sprinkle 1 milligram of aromacin into each beer to counter the estrogen, the only bad side effect of beer maxing. Number 1 coping / bulking / low inhib strat. It didn't take long for him to announce in a thread that he had grown to basically do nothing all day but drink and try to get with women, all while asking the forum for more ideas of drugs he could take, with his own suggestions being meth or nicotine. We're gonna come back to the meth thing later, but to the surprise of no one,
Pregabalin is also a nerve blocker used for autoimmune disease, and you can't drink alcohol with it. Yeah, I think he was experimenting. So he went from pregabalin to drinking a beer every 90 minutes.
his first criminal charges came soon after he began more conventional drug use. In August 2024, he was charged with misdemeanor assault and battery on a 56-year-old woman, as well as felony assault and battery on a 63-year-old man. Kiwi Farms user Colonel Sugar Lemons was the one who dumped all the information related to this case. The story goes that around 11 p.m., an altercation broke out over 2 members of a large wedding party who were allegedly pulling on bras hanging from the ceiling in the bar area. Clav approached them, told them to stop, and they initiated a fight, leading to an all-out brawl. So far, not really anything unreasonable from Clav, but it appears that during the chaos, he was throwing punches at someone's mom, the 56-year-old woman listed in the charges. Now, I am going to say here that he most likely didn't do it on purpose, especially since these charges were dropped. However, I also think it's likely that his employer wasn't aware that one of his bouncers was regularly drunk and drugged up to the gills while on the shift. If any legal situation like this happens, and for whatever reason, Clav gets tested for drugs, he is an automatic liability and is a lot more likely to be considered culpable. But regardless, he got away with being an alcoholic, pregabalin, and baclofen fiend. Ironically enough, what he didn't get away with was the steroids. After getting his mom to stop giving him grief over his LooksMaxxing, his activity on the forum would finally catch up to him when another user sent his post history to his school.
I was,
Activity on the forum to his school.
kicked out of uni for essentially roid
He got kicked.
maxing and LooksMaxxing, whatever the term you want to use is. Unfortunately, someone decided to archive all of my posts and apparently find out where I went to university and send them all to the public safety at my university, detailing all my alleged activities, which prompted them, the university, to do a search of my room and uncover certain LooksMaxxing peptides and, you know, things like hormones and, you know, TRT, whatnot. In this gestured clown world of America, that's illegal. Testosterone is illegal, guys. You're not actually allowed to do it without a extremely gestured prescription that I can't afford. I don't have health insurance, so I was using—
This is a whole different guy. He can't afford stuff? He doesn't have health insurance? And he goes from this to being the famous guy that we see now with a bunch of money to spend on lawyers. It's so weird. What happened?
Underground labs to source testosterone. Like,
yeah, he's 20 now. He's 20. He got arrested a little bit ago for trying to get in somewhere, a drinking establishment with a fake ID and everything. Like, dude.
I'm sorry, but I can't afford to go through like some of these online clinics.
He found a sugar daddy, guys. He 100% found a sugar daddy.
Or like an endocrinologist. It's, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a broke 18-year-old and I live at home, you know, with my grandma. So it's like, just go ahead and go through the legal route.
But he's fine now, Kelly, because he bragged about spending $100,000 on lawyers to get out of the situation he was in.
And spend all
So he's fine now.
this
He's
extra
free.
money rather than just source it on my own just seemed incredibly gestured to me, and that's why I went ahead and made the decision.
On one hand, I honestly do feel bad for Clav. It's not a good thing to maliciously contact the college with the intent of harming him in some way. That kind of behavior never comes from a good place. With that being said, he really did everything in his power to allow this to happen. From making almost no effort to separate his personal life from his LooksMaxxing endeavors, to outright bragging about his very questionable activity on campus, which included him saying he was going to do DIY Botox injections on other students, among many other things.
Dude.
Even if the only thing that got him in trouble was the testosterone he had, he claims he doesn't get it legally because he can't afford health insurance. But at the same time, he has a dozen threads about how much money he's planning to dump into plastic surgeries, so I'm not sure how sincere that is. His focus on the importance of LooksMaxxing comes through pretty clearly, as just moments after remarking about how mean-spirited people online can be, he's describing being kicked out as a blessing in disguise.
Now
obviously.
I am able to fully dedicate my time to LooksMaxxing, so I think
I'm so glad I got kicked out of college. I can dedicate my whole life to LooksMaxxing now. I don't have to pretend anymore.
this is going to wind up being a blessing in the end.
The end of college would also mark the end of any normalcy for Clav. He was now fully committed to becoming a popular LooksMaxxing influencer. His next video is titled, "I started Tren at 18, and so should you," which should really give you an idea of what kind of approach he was now embracing. Within just a few months of being kicked out, you can clearly see how much further he was going into the abyss, getting an $86 penis pump, getting on multiple weight loss drugs like Mounjaro and DNP, and on top of that, partying. During these parties, he would do coke, along with drinking alcohol and taking baclofen. Not to mention the other stuff he was already taking, such as steroids.
You got this topic before me, and the fitness guy in me wants to have a conversation with this methead. Dude, you do have to cover this as a gym bro yourself. You have to cover this. Holy crap. This is so crazy what this guy has done to his body.
Dick pills, etc. Obviously, even by normal partying standards, this is a pretty impressive cocktail, and these habits would eventually lead him to crash his car. Body cam footage of the aftermath has been released, and we can see that he basically drove into a ditch on a narrow road. But that's much less informative than what Clav himself said in a post about the incident. "I was nodding off on the way home and crashed into a fence. It'll cost me at least $2 to $3 grand. Surgery delayed once again. The cops didn't care that I was intoxicated. I'm boys with them. We work out at the gym." It's interesting that his greatest concern was not that he could have hurt someone or hurt himself. His main priority was that the crash was delaying one of his many planned surgeries. The first reply this thread got is someone pointing out that he could have taken the life of an innocent person while driving in that state, which honestly restored my faith in this website a bit overall. For any reasonable person, this would be a wake-up call to, you know, not be strung out on everything all the time. Maybe a lifestyle change. But for Clav, it was just another obstacle to his ascension. Now that he was getting more attention online through TikTok and these minor scandals, Clav decided it was time to cash in a bit.
If you're tired of being invisible to women, tired of getting rejected, and tired of watching other guys who won the
No! Is he literally gonna sell something?
genetic lottery take what's yours, then pay attention. Because what I'm about to show you will completely transform your face and physique in ways that you didn't even think were possible. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. You have been lied to. They told you just be confident, just be yourself, looks don't matter. But you and I both know that's complete bullshit.
Yeah, he opened a coaching page where he
No! Oh my god.
charges people $49 every month to have access to his methods. I'm not sure how much money this page was making when it started, but the landing page claims to have 1,500 members, which could add up to quite a bit of money. Now, I usually try not to hate on someone's bag too much. After all, I am a believer in good old American capitalism, but given the advice that we've seen him give out to people so far, my hopes for this school
That is so dangerous.
are pretty low. But with the money coming in, he posted on LooksMaxxing saying he filled out a loan application for surgery, specifically maxilla surgery. This is surgery that will radically restructure his face and is another step in his quest to ascend. His posts around this time also got even more questionable. In one post, he writes about how he makes sure that he explodes inside of the better looking girls he's been with to pass on his genes. Hopefully we don't get a low tier god situation.
Please don't pass on your genes, please. Can you please cover more that I plan to, Kelly. I plan to. I've always had an interest, you know? I've always had an interest. I remember covering incels on my first attempt to get into Reddit. And this was many years ago. I put it in my my face reveal stream if you want to go back and watch that. And it was very interesting because it was on incels. My community, however, at the time was mostly gaming community, and they did not care about that. They just kept talking about when we're gonna play PUBG. So they didn't care at all about that subject, but I do. So if I have a chance, I'll get into it for sure.
Here.
Say it louder. I've abandoned my child!
In another post that's definitely trolling, he criticizes people who wash their ass, calling it gay. As 2025 approached, he found himself wondering why all the women left around him were extremely promiscuous, and then revealed that he is now in $50,000 worth of medical debt, which he has no intention of paying off. Could he be lying about some of these details? Sure, but the overall point still stands. The shark has been jumped, and he is past the point of no return here. His delusions go so far that he went to an orthodontist and
Exactly, Maiden. He's not going to be passing on his altered features. That's a very good point.
began, quote, dropping nuclear
He's just a walking lie, you know?
black pills on him, all to walk out with $7,500 worth of Invisalign to fix his teeth, because apparently that's something he's very insecure about. Another thing he's never managed to figure out with his drug stacks is his facial hair, which eventually led him to draw a mustache on with an eyebrow pencil, because according to him, it makes him look like a dad. I really hope stuff like this in particular is trolling due to how downright stupid this looks. Like clockwork, Clav has some brief moments where he attempts to produce something resembling self-awareness, and makes the odd thread about how you shouldn't be doing drugs besides steroids and alcohol. But in no time flat, he's back to making brag threads about how he had fun at the club on 400 milligrams of pre-gab. And
dude, you're gonna listen to him in his interview. He actually sounds smart.
65 of baclofen. Keep in mind, he had been living with his grandma at this point, I assume the same one from the picture, and he spent his free time making threads on LooksMaxxing about how he had taken the sociopath pill, and he was gonna fool every normie into thinking he was a normal guy from his Instagram pictures. If you're not 14 and you're still LARPing about how you're like Dexter Morgan or Patrick Bateman, it is verifiably over for you. But the thing about being a deceptive and manipulative person is that over time, people do catch on to you, and you need to move elsewhere to keep running your racket. Naturally, by April, Clav did just that, and moved to LA, where he said it was infinitely easier to fuck. Probably true, to be honest. In his yearning to try and emulate the behavior of the popular normies, he doubled down on his TikToks and his streams on Twitch. But
that's the thing. This is not him. The guy that we're seeing on the streams, it's not him.
this move was showing some signs of taking its toll on him, as he once again spoke about trying to be sober from alcohol. But as we're going to get into soon, this sobriety is not really something he takes seriously. He literally just means not drinking alcohol. Other stuff is still on the table. Just a few months into 2025, something pretty strange popped up in his public records. This was brought forward by Kiwi Farms user Colonel Sugar Lemons, once again, who provided paperwork showing that in February 2025, Clavicular had been served with a restraining order that ensured he wouldn't abuse, contact, or come within 100 yards of an anonymous woman. And he also had to surrender any firearms he had to the police. Now, I wasn't able to find any more third-party information on this, but once someone else made a video about him that included the information about his restraining order, he responded by saying this: "The restraining order thing was even more outrageous. I made a joke on Discord that got me in actual trouble. If you think we have free speech in America..."
Okay.
Think again. I'm so done with people coming in and trying to subvert LooksMaxxing into something it was never supposed to be. This is very similar to the things he was saying when he got kicked out of college. The idea that he was punished for just LooksMaxxing, which is pretty insincere, leading me to believe that he may not be telling the full story here either. However, I will say that the person who made that video on him with the information about the restraining order is herself a LooksMaxxer, so I don't know the motivation behind her making her video. Ultimately, these hiccups did very little to prevent Clav from gaining popularity, as the wider internet was becoming increasingly fascinated by his posts. And his hat. This newfound explosion through Instagram Reels and TikTok would lead to what many have called his generational run, where he basically just goes on a bunch of podcasts and talks about himself. The first one that I saw was when he did a stream with Nick Fuentes, where he talked about his planned double jaw surgery.
So the plan is the double jaw surgery.
Right.
And that brings it forward and makes it wider and bigger?
Forward and down.
And down.
A downdraft, yeah.
Giga Chad.
To most people, it's clear that this is a totally unnecessary operation, but at this point, Clav has gone so far with his endeavors that he doesn't really see it as much of an issue. In another interview, this time with Jack Neal, he talks about his most recent addition to the stack.
I'm taking Accutane. I use crystal meth, so methamphetamine, as a stimulant and to lean max, right? It's very suppressant of your appetite. It's a very long-acting stimulant. So this is something that I've started using in place of Adderall. I'm pretty much using meth for hollow cheeks.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's trying to look like everybody else. He is literally trying to look the best in the room. He is trying to follow his ideal of what a man should look like.
So that's kind of where we're at in terms of LooksMaxxing.
While he goes on to defend his use by saying he takes a very low dose, there's honestly nothing he could say to convince me that ordering the big blue off the internet to lean max and get hollow cheeks is a good idea. His surgical ambitions have also gone even farther, as he wants to get a type of surgery where both of your legs are broken and then slowly pulled apart while the body forms new bone in its place. With the idea being that once
Oh, is he trying to be taller too?
the surgery is complete, you'll be multiple inches taller.
Oh
Keep in
my
mind
God,
here,
not
Clav is
that
already
thing.
6'2", and he wants to be 6'6". He also expresses total confidence that he isn't insecure, and instead, all of his decisions are informed by pure logic and rationality. Right before he says he'll be getting the jaw surgery in Turkey for $35,000, and then says that the height surgery will cost him $100 grand. Now, despite how bizarre Clav is as a person, he actually does a decent job of presenting his worldview convincingly, and it's undeniable that he's pretty well spoken. While his appearance on stream with Nick Fuentes and the Jack Neal podcast were pretty popular, it was Fresh and Fit, a Red Pill podcast you may remember from when Andrew Tate was taking over the internet, that really blew the lid off, spawning a lot of edits of him on Instagram.
Please do.
So her alar base, the width of her nose is incredibly large. Her nasal bridge is incredibly wide. You know.
Yo. Yo.
Obviously, you've got bimaxillary protrusion, so you know your bite is all off. Just everything is wrong.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Everything is wrong.
Yeah. So just, I would rate you the lowest, definitely on the panel.
What's the number?
I would arguably say like 1.5 or 2, like genetic defect, dead end.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm actually writing this shit down.
But whatever value he offers as a content creator is constantly negated by the stuff he actually gets up to in his endeavors to LooksMaxx. As his popularity increased, so did his revolving door of drug use.
Why the HCG? So that my testicles aren't the size of a shriveled up raisin. I was kind of getting a little sick and tired of that. You know, it really has a wear and tear on your mental if you're just you guys know, like a raisin in the sun. That was pretty much my nutsack, was a raisin in the sun.
This guy's life is basically a never-ending revolving door of drugs that cause issues and are then supplemented by other drugs which then need their own solution.
He keeps having new problems that he needs to fix because of the things that he used before.
and it goes on and on. He took SARMs to improve his gym performance. Then he had to take testosterone because his body was no longer producing it naturally. Then his balls got small, so now he has to take the ball drug. But at the same time, his dick isn't working, so he has to take Cialis. As all of this is going on, he has really high anxiety, maybe related to his general temperament, maybe due to the drugs he's taking, so his solution is to drink and take baclofen. It's just never ending. There was a brief period in which Clav tried to act as if he had moved past his life of sleeping around and had gotten into a relationship, but it didn't last very long, and soon enough, he went back to jester maxing on TikTok for online attention from randoms, making videos about how to increase your IQ and the size of your meat.
Increase your IQ.
All while bragging about how easily he can get replies on LooksMaxxing.org, but doesn't care about it at all and has ascended past it. This is probably Clav approaching his least self-aware state, as he begins committing the most common internet guy mistake, engaging with your haters.
If you go look at, his Kiwi Farms entire post about him, you can see who he is.
If you put any person, any teenager, under the level of scrutiny that I've been put under, where I've got a forum full of people looking into every single thing that I've ever done, private police reports and stuff like that where I crashed my car. Could you imagine if that was you? If you were exposed to that level of scrutiny, I guarantee most of you, the majority, would be in way deeper shit than me. So what did I really do? I crashed my car because I took too much baclofen? Oh, big fucking deal. Some envious I simply made a joke about. If you put any person, in my situation, any teenage male under the scrutiny of all these people on that forum, which is literally an illegal forum. It's illegal in the UK and a few other countries because of the shit that they do on there.
There's a lot that I can say about this video. First off, I think the years of using the "I'm just a teenager" defense on his parents made him do it on impulse here, despite the restraining order and the car crash happening after he was an adult. Secondly, I also really like how he's using Kiwi Farms being illegal, as he puts it here, as a gotcha, when the legality of his black market steroids, which he actively promotes and has promoted to kids, has never concerned him. To seal his fate for good, he announced that he was heading to the final destination for modern TikTok stars, Miami. There are very few fates darker than to see yourself become a Miami influencer with a rented Cybertruck. It's like a biblical punishment. Despite his many claims to not care about what online incels had to say about him, he was clearly bothered about it, to the point where he made a video borderline crying while trying to defend his recent developments.
Because that's really important, is the why. Why are you doing these things? Why are you risking your health with anabolics? Why are you, dumping, all this money that you have into peptides and nootropics and this and that and taking this risk and having this surgery planned? So that really needs to be explained and addressed, because I see a lot of craziness going around on the internet, right? It's like, wouldn't you rather just give something your all in life? Okay, so when people come on and they say, oh, Clav, you're insane for getting surgery, you're insane for doing these anabolics. Well, at least in 5 years, whether I am a Frank Tufano botch job or the next Giga Chad, at least I could say that I gave something my all. While you sit there and type your comment on my Instagram reel from your wage job, at least I tried. At least I dedicated myself to the craft and was willing to do whatever it takes, right? So I really want to make this video before I go ahead and get this double jaw surgery, just to say that you guys have never done something hard in your entire life. You've never actually put in a second's effort. Now, I know I'm not the best looking guy, and sure, there's all these LooksMaxxers that look a lot better than me, but what did they actually do? What did they actually accomplish? Because while you were out doing random bullshit in high school, I was sitting there on my computer, dedicating myself, researching the
I'm so glad he's so proud of himself, right? I mean, you have to be in his circumstance.
best way to maximize myself. So it's not craziness. It is not anything other than obsession and dedication.
There's a few things to pick apart here. He opens by saying, hey, why are you dumping all of this money that you have when that's only half true? If you go back far enough, he was using the money his parents gave him to get hormones. And even recently, he was taking out loans and admitted to being in tons of debt to get his LooksMaxxing procedures. Then there's this false dichotomy he paints where if you don't think what he's doing is good or smart, then you must be an embittered wagey, envious of his ascension. Clav simply can't fathom that his critics have a legitimate point, rationalizing that they must be poor and mentally ill. Keep in mind, he's saying all of this through gritted teeth and watery eyes. Lastly, I like how his idea of putting a lot of effort in is being on the computer looking up ways to enlarge your penis when you're 16 years old, and then injecting your shaft with lemon juice. Now, some people may say,
oh, but that's just what he used to do as a silly kid trying to LooksMaxx online.
But as I've already gone over, if you look for more current examples of him supposedly taking risks to make the most out of himself, you immediately stumble onto him once again admitting to being on meth.
Usually when I build stuff, I'm always so stemmed out on like, you know, an amphetamine with a methyl group. You guys know what I'm talking about?
In reference to another video where he fails to rizz up some girl, he posted, I was high on meth. That bitch is definitely subhuman. Soon after, in another clip, like the one in his car where he's desperately attempting to get himself taken seriously by his audience, he says this.
I am not a character. This is not some TV show, right? Where I'm coming on here trying to entertain you, mother. This is the cruel, hard world. We live in one of the worst societies ever throughout the entire history
I
of the
agree,
world.
because there's people
Quite
like
literally.
you in it.
You have to be in the top percentile to even be looked at with a shred of romance, with a shred of attraction by women in this day of age. Do you think that I'm doing this shit as a form of entertainment when I have to stay up for 3 days in a row, high on crystal meth, right? Trying to suppress my appetite and get hollow cheeks, right? Is that supposed to entertain you? The fact that I even can't, I can't even talk to people without some sort of, version of benzos. I need to,
you did this to yourself,
just
dude.
to be able to have a conversation like a normal person. Is that supposed to be entertaining to you? Okay, right? So this shit is, hell for me.
You do really gotta love the irony of someone talking
That's
about
wild.
how evil and terrible the modern world is, while making tens of thousands of dollars a month by basically sitting on his ass, live streaming once in a while, and then ordering drugs off the internet so he can destroy his brain. The rest of the video just has a lot of him malding about how evil women only give attention to you if you get plastic surgery, and he tries to, quote, appeal to people with neurodivergence, as if the stuff he's peddling at all would help other autistic people online. I'm sure that on some level he's aware of how silly he sounds when he takes himself so seriously, especially when the rest of his content is him doing literal makeup tutorials and recommending that all men take Cialis. He rapidly alternates between posts like this and posts like this.
Would Charlie Kirk have gotten assassinated if he were Chad? Well, probably not, and here's why.
Well, he was definitely trying extra hard to put on a performance. According to people who actually met him in real life, not much was different. In a Reddit thread about a stream clip of his where he showed off his penis pump, one user wrote, "My cousin is good friends with him in real life. He says Clav is probably the most insecure human he's ever come across. According to him, he's constantly going manic by trying all sorts of LooksMaxxing techniques. He only talks about anabolic steroids and plastic surgery. He also will have a meltdown if he sees the slightest imperfection and will ruin everyone's plans by refusing to leave the house because he's ugly, like a middle school girl would. Recently, he's been doing way too much melanotan too and looks terrible. Guy is mentally ill and needs psychiatric care." While this post is anonymous and could be complete bull, it sounds pretty accurate. Fortunately for Clav, he was finally moving past the need for validation from his fellow LooksMaxxing cells, as he was now attempting to ingratiate himself with streamers. Once again, the backfire was almost instantaneous, as this clip of Aiden Ross talking about him came out.
I've never seen someone snort meth ever in real life. I literally witnessed Clav snort meth. Literally. Witnessed it. And I didn't know how to feel. I did not know how to feel. I've never seen that ever.
Aiden was just one of the many stops on his clout train. Next up was Jack Doherty, and then Sneeko, both of whom he streamed with. Besides his career developments, there were also some new things in his personal life. He had found himself another girlfriend who happened to be 17 years old, which a lot of people took issue with. Although I want to say here definitively that given he is only 19 himself, dating a 17-year-old is not really something to be concerned with. The more concerning part is him injecting fat-dissolving peptides into her face on livestream. Going back to the LooksMaxxing forum, it's worth noting that he's mentioned his sister, who is just 13 years old by the way, multiple times. Over a couple of different posts, he wrote this: "Imagine your sister, who has the same DNA and genes as you, will never have to work a day in her life, will never understand hardship, will have every one of her desires fulfilled by cuckold men. Truly unreal. My sister is probably 0.5 PSL higher than me, which is a good amount but not otherworldly, and her quality of life will be inestimably better simply because of a simple difference in chromosomes. Truly unreal how genetics and sexual market value works. So Jover for me, man. My sister is a chronic mouth breather, mostly during sleep, but I already see early signs of recession and bad development. She's a foid, so she will have unlimited sexual market value regardless, but do I save her from descending, or does it not benefit me? The theory is that her marrying a rich Saudi prince or some shit like that will benefit me and allow me to exploit money from her." Again, almost everything Odd said here could be swept away as a joke, but it is very strange to talk about your sibling like that to strangers online. Regardless, Clav was fully cementing his reputation by audibly snorting something that is presumably coke while on stream.
Easy. Oh, buddy. Dude.
I think he realized how bad this looked, so right after, he made an attempt at expressing regret over his drug usage, calling it the worst day of his life.
You need that stuff if you want to do this consistently, but I don't, bro. I want to get off the packet. I am. It's been 12. We've been off for 12 hours, bro.
Bye. Yeah,
the worst day of my life, bro.
But given that he continued to hang out with the same exact people afterwards, and a clip came out of them talking about how they got their stuff from the same guy who supplied it to the actual Wolf of Wall Street, I doubt he stayed off of it for very long. For someone who takes so much pride in not living a normie life, he's doing exactly the same thing as a gaggle of other clout-chasing streamers, with the only difference being that he's convinced himself that his motives are somehow unique. Ultimately, regardless of the merit some specific LooksMaxxing philosophies may or may not have, I don't really need to go out on a limb to say that being on drugs all the time and doing steroids without lifting is just not the way to go. No amount of being funny online changes the fact that Clav could have had a much happier, fulfilled life, and instead he's wasting the prime of it and a huge amount of money on plastic surgeries and drugs. With that being said, I don't think he's an evil person, and despite him having advised other people to follow his footsteps as if he were a role model, I don't think he's intentionally misleading anybody. Based on everything I've seen so far, he genuinely believes that he is making the best decisions. It's just that those decisions are incredibly stupid. It's worth saying that throughout everything, even Clav himself admits that ultimately, a lot of what he's doing will probably have some very negative effects on his life.
So you don't care about maximizing your lifespan as much as your day-to-day?
Yeah, I'm not a huge longevity guy.
And I think his popularity is reflective of some broader issues as well. Clav himself has stated that he grew up as a socially awkward person. He avoided speaking to anyone in class. Instead of spending his time with friends, he went on an obscure forum for improving his looks, when realistically, his looks were already fine. He doesn't need to get height surgery to go from 6'2" to 6'6".
Yeah.
He doesn't need to get his jaw broken and spend 6 months healing to be better looking. And frankly, his physique is not good enough for someone who has been taking steroids since before he was old enough to drive. There's this idea that I've seen in comment sections everywhere. How ironic is it that he only blew up after he ascended? To me, the truth is that he only blew up now that he's 19 years old, has been kicked out of college, and has the time to actually make content. A lot of the people claiming he's ascended will show before and after pictures, but the before is when he was like 13 years old. Are we really that surprised that someone's appearance changed for the better from before when they were in high school to when they're supposed to be college age? Is that really shocking to anyone?
Dude, I cannot even imagine a lot of these changes were from the things that he did. He already had a lot of it in his genetics. Like, besides the plastic surgery, sure, that might have had some permanent results, but dude, no.
And frankly, there are plenty of good-looking people on the internet who are 19 years old. This is not a unique thing. Clav got popular for 3 reasons. One is that he's pretty funny. The second reason is the extreme measures he's taking, which is
he funny? Is he funny? I've not seen that yet, but maybe he is. I guess we'll find out.
shocking to anyone who hears about it, and they feel like they need to hear more. And the third reason is that there are a lot of other socially awkward kids out there who believe that Clav is offering them a way out. If you listen to him, all you need to do is take 32 different drugs you order off the internet, and then your life will be complete. But the reality is that, much like Clav's Botox-filled face, his audience will probably be just as fleeting. As the novelty of watching someone talk about penis pumps and taking meth to lean Max fades away, he's either going to need to hard pivot into actually talking about something that matters, or he's going to fade into irrelevance like the rest of the red pill guys did once their audience has realized how full of shit they were. Anyhow, I've been Turkey Tom. Thanks for
Thank you so much, Turkey Tom. That was such a good... He does such a good job, dude. Turkey Tom does such a good job. I don't care if it's him doing it, if it's a team doing it. He's doing a great job. His documentaries are always like full of information. It's absolutely great. Let's see. Not sure if this one's relevant.
Says that he is influenced to do anything, that he's his own man and he's just logical.
Good-looking moron is nothing special. Yeah, it's just there's way too much effort put into something that will likely have a lot of negative consequences in his future.
Disagree. I think he's comparing himself to other people and saying there's better looking people out there, and so I need to do better.
So you want to be 99th percentile at all aspects of life?
Absolutely.
Except maybe longevity.
Yeah.
Coach Greg, in today's video, it's on Clavicular. This guy is one of the most interesting characters I've ever seen. He reminds me of a combination of Togi and Brian Johnson, of all people, rolled up into one, except this guy is not trying to age Max. He doesn't care about living. He cares about maximizing his looks at all costs. I don't want to spoil the entire video, but here's some things that he's done. He started using steroids at 14. He wants to lengthen his limbs because he's only 6'2", and he's getting titanium implant surgery in order to make him look prettier. He wears makeup, and he's a neural divergent, which I learned has something to do with autism or something, and he's very, very bright. I'm going to argue that he has body dysmorphia and that he somehow messed things up during his childhood, and that this is not the kind of guy that we should emulate. Now, he does in fact make exceptional points. I'm not gonna lie, I went into this a little bit biased, but he expresses himself very well. It's hard to believe he's only 19 years of age.
This is true, and we're gonna actually go into an interview now, and you'll see what I mean and what other people are saying. He is very articulate. He's very good at expressing himself. You almost want to believe and follow his example, which is the dangerous part of it all, right?
Have I sat down with a LooksMaxxed meth head live stream cell, and I have that distinct privilege today with my new friend Clavicular.
How's it going?
Mr. Icular, it's wonderful to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Muggsy.
There is so much I want to get into with you.
Okay.
Even all those parts of your title. But I want to start with the most obvious, the most apparent to most people, which is that you're a good-looking guy. I don't think that makes me gay to say you're a good-looking guy. You have intentionally become a good-looking guy. Mm-hmm. You have LooksMaxxed.
Right.
What is LooksMaxxing?
LooksMaxxing is the furthest extent that you could take self-improvement, right? So we've seen a lot of, different forms of that over the years, mostly with bodybuilding. I would say was the main one for a while for men, from about 2010 up until 2020. And then it sort of shifted into LooksMaxxing. That kind of crept into the space from different niche, forums, especially those of PSL, which was just 3
pumpkin spice latte, obviously.
No, just 3 LooksMaxxing forums. So that influence kind of crept in, and it's very obvious that the face is more important than the physique. So people were doing the self-improvement, and it wasn't really getting them the results that they needed. So that's why the further step needed to be taken to sort of go about improving upon your entire life.
So, there are all these bodybuilding
Not your
forums,
entire
and you say,
life, not your entire life, just your physique, which in turn will get you laid. And that's your entire life then, right?
well, what about this phrase, the butterface? You know, but you hear about the butt, you never hear
Right.
about butter body.
Uh-huh.
So you draw the conclusion from that hey, you guys are all working out to build up your bodies, but the face is more important to physical attractiveness.
Absolutely.
So that's what distinguishes just working out and hitting the gym and bodybuilding from LooksMaxxing.
It's just adding an extra layer, right? I'm someone who hugely advocates for still going to the gym, even though I might have been taking a little bit of time off recently.
I've taken about a decade or so off.
Yeah, so no worries. We're on the same page there. But I'm just adding that extra layer, that extra piece of key nuance that I feel like has been out of the equation for the longest time, especially in a lot of...
Do you know what I mean when I say he's articulate and a good talker? He's also quick, you know?
like the manosphere discussion. Looks hasn't really been, mentioned, and it just seems kind of silly to me.
Can I ask how old you are?
19.
You're 19.
Correct.
So you're very young.
Yep.
And you're talking about this development of the LooksMaxxing self-improvement world.
Mm-hmm.
When did you get into this?
When I was 14 years old, I was someone who was on these bodybuilding
I
forums.
hear you can't get it up, listen.
I started taking exogenous hormones, testosterone, when I was 14. And then it became more of a shift from bodybuilding-oriented stuff, like we talked about before. I'd say this happened to a lot of people, into more LooksMaxxing stuff over the years.
You're 14, you're going through puberty. You're
Yeah.
getting a nice injection of testosterone the old-fashioned way.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you do that?
For facial masculinization, just optimizing all of my growth pathways so that I could have like a super physiological puberty, right? So, you could do a lot with pharmaceutical intervention. So taking those steps at an early age is kind of like it's a now or never mentality, right? So once your growth plates close, there's nothing you could do.
What's so fascinating about that answer is that's like the right-wing version of the transgender argument. The
Mhm.
pro-trans people are always saying,
Right.
I got to take the cross-sex hormones when I'm 13 or 14 because if I wait until I'm 18 or 20, it'll be all closed off and I'll never look like the opposite sex. And what you're
Right.
saying is, well, I had to take all these exogenous hormones when I was 14 so that I could look like the most giga-chad version of my own sex.
Right. Yeah, no, of course. So it's the exact opposite. And you'll hear a lot of criticism for like the stuff that I talk about from the left, which is quite ironic. So I'm glad you brought that up.
So what does it mean? So you start taking testosterone.
Right.
Okay, before we get into what your parents said about this, what your doctors said or didn't say about this, you're a 14-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
14-year-olds go through a lot of problems, a lot
Right.
of self-image issues, girls and boys. Why did you do this when most 14-year-olds don't?
Well, so I'm a bit of an autist, right? So I was just like, there's this thing that could get me to my desired physique quicker. Like, why wouldn't I do that? It wasn't like your typical 14-year-old who goes on Instagram and sees like, a picture of David Lade or like Chris Bumstead and it's like, oh, like I want to look like that guy. I'm just like, well, objectively, this is going to get me there quicker. So why would I not,
Are there
That was kind of the mentality.
Are there downsides there? Are there side effects?
Of course. Yeah, no. So there's a lot that can go wrong if you're not very careful with, using anabolic steroids, obviously. So I was someone who did my due diligence and made sure things didn't go horribly wrong.
I did my due diligence. I read the whole forum about this stuff that I took.
Certainly things I could have went about better. And I wish I had a more comprehensive understanding before I, decided to go this route. But, we're here now. And for those reasons, with how complex it is, I don't openly advocate for anyone to do this, right? I think a lot more people are going to wind up screwing themselves over if they are to go this route rather than, if they were to decide, to stay natural.
What do you regret? You say there's some things I wish I'd done differently, would have turned out differently.
Just not taking certain pharmaceuticals. I wish I would have, had a little bit more IGF-1 in the protocols, just for example. So just
What's the effect of that, though?
IGF-1 is, you know, an important hormone for development. So just if I were to take that, that would be a little bit better, but I couldn't afford it at the time. So I would have just gone about that a little different.
But there was nothing where you'd say, I really messed this part of my body up. You just say, I wish I'd gone further.
Right, yeah.
So you start taking these steroids. Are you still taking them?
Yes, I'm just on TRT.
What's TRT?
Testosterone replacement
Yes,
therapy.
yeah, okay. You hear about like 50-year-old guys doing that.
Yeah, well, it seems a little ridiculous that to optimize my testosterone levels to where they realistically should be as a male, I have to wait until I'm like 30 years old is like the common cope that you hear on the internet. And testosterone levels have been declining rapidly across generations. So I'm kind of just placing myself where we, you know, evolutionarily should be.
Okay, so LooksMaxxing then is when you shoot up a bunch of pharmaceuticals.
No, that's not, that's, you know, my iteration of LooksMaxxing is just kind of doing whatever it takes, like the rich PR.
I mean, sometimes it sounds like he does, but on the other hand, he's saying that it's worth the danger, you know?
Kind of mentality. That's not really what I advocate for because, again, with all these complexities, you could wind up f***ing yourself over. And
how so?
Well, you know, take testosterone, for example. You could deal with hair loss issues. You could deal with acne. You could deal with gynecomastia. You have to really carefully manage a ton of different hormones and a ton of different interactions inside your body.
You have to forgive my ignorance. I know nothing about this. What is gynecomastia?
That is, you know, the glandular tissue in your nipples growing.
Yeah.
So I guess, I think the term I've heard a lot of people use is so
yeah, no, I don't want that.
Yeah, so you don't want that. That's what I mean. And, you know, if people are just go around blasting tests without a comprehensive understanding of this stuff, that's what would happen, you know? But there are mechanisms that you could leverage to make sure this doesn't occur.
And that's why he's coaching people, because he knows all the little bounces of everything, you know? He's like a nerd, a science nerd. He knows it all. You can trust him with that information.
But once again, most people won't have the foresight to go about it the right way.
Yeah, most people will not have the foresight, but he does have that. He knows what he's doing.
So when you learn all this stuff online and you're on all these forums and you say, okay, this is how I'm going to look really good, and you start getting the testosterone, what did your parents ever object to that? Or?
Yeah, they would take it away all the time. And
where did you get it?
Just on the internet. So yeah, there was like a time where I went like hypogonadal for a month or two just because they took my testosterone stash, but I made sure that never happened again.
Hypergonadal?
Hypogonadal, like I didn't have any testosterone production, just for like a month or two. And that was probably the worst 2 months of my life.
Yeah.
You know, having zero.
Cyril, thanks so much for the 5 gifted memberships. That is epic. It's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Guys, if you happen to be in the chat and you got a membership, please say thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for the support.
Male sex hormone, you have no libido, no sex drive.
As a reminder, guys, we also have a Discord where we are extremely active, especially if you are a member on the channel. You get access to a bunch of other Discord channels where everybody's chatting about drama and things all the time. So you're very welcome to join. I'm gonna go step on a nail like and follow. I'm an expert. Yeah.
So yeah, just making sure to avoid that is very important.
We have one more true crime episode coming up tomorrow, and then Saturday we're gonna keep it probably a bit less into this topic. But yeah, we have been live almost every single day, so I appreciate all the support that you guys are giving.
So your parents, you get into this on the internet, you order the drugs on the internet, you start taking the drugs, your parents finally find out about this, and they say, hey, stop doing that. What did they tell you?
Well, they would just take it away, say no more steroids, like take away the Xbox Classic stuff. But I'm just someone who, you know, is willing to do whatever needs to be done. So I would just reorder it to a P.O. box instead. Like, you know, a lot of people will come after my parents for the things that I did, but realistically, no one was stopping me. I was committed to my goal, and I wasn't going to let anyone get away.
So why was that your goal? Because I see the point on self-improvement, and ambitious young men want to improve themselves. But there are different ways you can improve yourself.
No more steroids for you. Well, nobody could stop him.
There's the physical way, There's spiritual improvement. There's mental improvement. There's, I don't know, all sorts of improvement.
Right, but what's going to actually get you further in life? What's going to get you up?
He legit thinks that it's gonna get him further in life to be pretty. Which, listen, I understand. I understand where he's coming from. Maybe through his 20s, he's right. But it's not gonna last him that long.
Opportunities in the workplace, what's going to get you, dates, with prettier women. It's going to be looks 100 times over, and there's really no denying that with like a lot of the recent self-report studies we've seen, like research from the dating apps that's been released. So I would say that looks is just the most important metric, and it's arguably one of the easier things that you could maximize.
What's very interesting about what you said is, well, we'll get back to all these ultimate goals, but just on the dating point, you say, look, what matters in dating is looks. And that has been true for all of history to some degree. But I think it's truer today than it was 30 years ago. Because, I'll give you an example. I went to a prestigious university where you got a lot of guys who graduate, I'm talking about the parents of my classmates. A lot of the guys, they don't look good, but a lot of them become very rich. And we would sometimes joke that the girls who went to this school looked kind of like aliens because they had these supermodel moms and these like fat, ugly dads. But the dads were really rich. And so, listen, it's a little bit of a stereotype. Plenty of people did not fit the stereotype. But when you think of generations past, there are plenty of not so great looking guys who ended up with beautiful women for reasons of, social rights and rituals, for reasons of money, for reasons of class status, for reasons of profession, whatever. They didn't have the dating apps. And so even that, you get into LooksMaxxing because of the online forums, you get the drugs for LooksMaxxing because of the internet marketplace.
The thing is, right, he's on an insane cocktail of drugs at this point. It's not just the steroids, it's not just the testosterone, it's not this and that. It's like a whole cocktail of different drugs that he has to take to balance and manage it all. It's I can't even imagine.
And you say the reason I need to LooksMaxx is because all the dating takes place online where you're reduced to a picture.
Right. Of course, and that's something that often gets brought up to me. And here's my response to the whole thing about money would be, what's more likely for the average guy? Because I think of things in sociological terms. I think that's very interesting to me. Just look at men across the society. What's more likely? Someone to ascend from maybe slightly below average to above average through LooksMaxxing, or for them to achieve that desired amount of wealth for a supermodel to date them? It just seems like, we should be telling people to go the looks route.
Why?
Because it's easier. It's more realistic.
Is it cheap to LooksMaxx, or does it cost money?
It's just more achievable. People with...
I'm just saying, how much do these drugs cost?
Not much. It's not really that difficult. It's more of a time investment, but someone is...
The example that he's setting, dude, it's so scary. It's so scary.
Likely going to lack the intellect to be able to achieve this status max, to achieve, income max. So just across the society, I would say we should be advocating for looks.
I'm not...
Across society, we should be advocating for looks. Holy crap.
Sure, I agree with you that it's easier to look better than it is to make some money or do well in your job or what have you. I mean, there are plenty of people at the top of their profession, whatever that profession is, blue.
He doesn't care about longevity. He's just it's all about living the now. And he advocates for it. He advocates for people to live less.
Collar, white collar, people who would be considered by some metric elite, who are not that intelligent, who probably don't have a very high IQ, but who work very hard, who are clever, who are scrappy, who are hustlers.
Well, we're talking about across the society, not just like a couple anecdotes of maybe some dumb blue collar like brute, maybe owning his own company. So that just seems a little bit ridiculous to me, to suggest that it would be easier to jump 20 percentiles in terms of income or status than in looks.
I guess the reason, if I think across the society, that I'm skeptical of this, not just the brute who ends up with his own company, but people who, across industries and class strata. I know way more rich guys than I know really good-looking guys. And I think we see more rich guys in society than we see good-looking guys. So all things else being equal, if you just want to, attract a chick, wouldn't it? And I guess the reason I'm pushing on this point is, when you learn how to do well in your job, when you learn how to cultivate some skill that the marketplace rewards, aren't you improving yourself in other ways that just enhancing your bones?
And the thing that you guys have to remember too, he's not looking for like meaningful connections with women. We have seen him talk about women several times, and all he wants is just to, like, what is it? Pump and dump? Like, that's how he views women. So obviously he wouldn't have to really develop any skills or brain or interesting part of himself at all, right? And that's why looks are more important.
Structure does not.
Absolutely. No, and you're fully right. And before we go any further down this rabbit hole, I don't want to act like these two forms of improvement are mutually exclusive whatsoever. I advocate for all the same stuff you're talking about. I think that, learning a high value skill is one of the most important things that you could do. I'm just saying that it's going to be easier for you to actually ascend and overcome a lot of the disparities in the dating market through looks. I'm not saying neglect, getting rich, neglect, your status.
The thing is, he's not dating. You can't look up to this guy as being the example of, the dating scene, because he's not dating.
That would be absolutely ridiculous for me to suggest.
He's just having sex with girls. That's it.
So I'm saying a well-rounded.
Okay, well, which a lot of guys do care about, don't get me wrong. Okay, if all you care about is having sex with a girl, yeah, okay, follow his example, I guess. Looks are important because they don't last very long, but for that moment, you get what you want and you can get out.
Rounded mogger is kind of required with how difficult the scene is these days.
I grant. I sometimes think that I got the last chopper out of Nam, because I'm a millennial and I was single for a bit, and I always liked dating when I was single, but I, married the love of my life, and we have this great life. And I think, man, if I had to date in the year of our Lord 2025, I would be very upset. I would have to learn how to mog. I would have to learn how to mew. I would have to learn all these skills that I don't.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
Possess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that the main reason that
it is 100% sad, Maiden, but I'm hoping that I don't know. He's supposedly autistic, right? So I understand where he wouldn't want deep connections with people if he truly is autistic. He doesn't see the value in that as much as the practical things in life. So doing things he wants, being happy, having sex, those are practical, right? Deep, meaningful connections is not a practical thing. It's just not something that he can comprehend as well, or have the desire to have as other people would.
Is because of Instagram, right? And a lot of people don't understand the implications of, access to the internet and access to communicating with everyone.
Yeah, Zero, I'm LooksMaxxing here too. Did I succeed?
Across the entire world, essentially. So what that looks like in terms of a hypergamy standpoint was, maybe you had a girl from your town who's going to try to date above her looks level, maybe just in her immediate surroundings. But now we've got people like...
Oh, it's the incel in him talking right now.
Professional athletes, DMing them on Instagram, flying them out. So you're not just competing with the top chads of your 15-mile radius, you're competing with the entire world. So it's the chads of the world, maybe who even live in Chad. Yeah. The nation of Chad. You got no idea. Well, I doubt it. But so it's becoming increasingly difficult to compete as like the average guy. So there's this purgatory zone where even someone who's average to above average could be struggling to secure a long-term relationship a lot of the times, and that's like really alarming.
This is very interesting because the observation you're making pertains to the economic discussion too. A lot of the debates over free trade and economic policy in the last 10 years have revolved around the perils of globalization. Previously, you only had to compete against your countrymen. Now you got to compete against your countrymen, the flood of foreigners that comes in across an open border, and a globalized world with jobs being outsourced all over the globe.
Yeah, exactly. Very similar. But yeah, no, even if it was just domestically, like things are really bad. Like when you've got girls being like flown out by like Shaquille O'Neal, and you're just an average guy making, you know, maybe $80,000 a year. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Does that happen? Does Shaquille O'Neal fly out girls from Palookaville?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Does he really, or is that the thing? Like, it's a fun story, and I guess it could happen. But does that really happen?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I've seen professional athletes like following like girls I knew from like my hometown. Like this is like a very common thing because with how degenerate the society has moved, these girls are taking on so many different sexual partners that you know that there's a lot of plausibility for this kind of stuff.
So the promiscuity is a major problem. I mean, on a whole host of social levels. But what you're telling me is LooksMaxxing is chiefly about getting a girlfriend.
No.
No, not a girlfriend. Having sex with as many girls as possible. Not a girlfriend. We don't want that. That's just trouble. That's just a problem, you know?
Your looks are going to improve your quality of life in a lot of different regards, whether it be in the workplace, just overall opportunities presented to you. This is all going to be.
I'm sorry, but in those forums, there was no mention of you wanting to look better so that you could have a job. Okay, just be honest. It's all about girls.
Tailored to looks, and the main thing that you need to understand is the halo effect. I don't know if you've heard about this.
What is the halo effect?
The halo effect is that people are going to perceive the things that you say and the things that you do a lot better if you're good looking. Right?
Yeah.
So
there's like that meme where some really good looking guy goes up and he's like, "Hey, Shelly, nice dress today." And she's like, "Oh, thanks, Giga Chat." And then some like fat guy walks up, he's like, "Nice dress, Shelly." And she's like, "Hello, HR."
Exactly, yeah. So no, that's a pinnacle example of the halo effect and what that looks like. So if you've got to be this fat slob who's getting HR complaints for shit that you saw, another guy do 2 seconds ago, that's got to be quite brutal.
Yo! In the end, it is Mortal Kombat. Thank you so much for the 10. Oh, yo, actually, I think I see a Euro sign over there. You are from this side. You are from this side of things. Where are you from? Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you. You've been so kind today.
So just your overall well-being, if you're an unattractive person and no one even wants to look at you in the elevator.
Look how cool that looks on the screen with the orange background. That's epic.
No one even wants to shake your hand or acknowledge you. It's horrible for your mental well-being, and that's why I think LooksMaxxing goes a lot further than just getting a girlfriend. Like that seems like a very silly thing to do.
At least, though, you would have to say the thesis of LooksMaxxing is that looks are the most important thing in life.
Yeah.
Hit me with the 10 gifted! Yeah! Holy crap, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yo, 10 gifted. I appreciate you, Heavy.
What about the non-physical things? I'm a little older than you, and when I was a kid, we were told looks aren't everything. Don't judge a book by its cover. It's what's on the inside that counts. Christianity and religion generally teaches us that there is more to life than the material aspects of this world, and we need to focus on the spirit. And
yeah, no, absolutely. But the thing is, your subconscious tells you if someone is genetically disfortunate that they are lesser than you, and you have to kind of fight that if you're thinking in terms of like Christianity, to acknowledge them as an equal. So if you've got to go against like your biological instincts to have a belief system,
you have to go against your biological instinct to accept what society considers a less attractive person in order to be able to fully believe what they're saying, I have to go against my instinct? No, I don't have to go against my natural instinct, actually. Listen, I get what he's saying. I do believe that, unfortunately, people who are more attractive do get their voice across more easily than people who are considered less attractive. This is a fact. It's true. It's very unfortunate, and I get that, right? But when it comes to what actually matters, I'm not going to see a difference between the two people. I'm going to care about the experience that the person has, their perspective, where they're coming from, their intentions, all of that stuff. I'm not going to care if they're less attractive. It is such a wrong idea to put out there. It's very disturbing.
It already kind of just makes it a little bit difficult, you know?
Yeah, but don't we do that in a whole host of ways? Like,
I would probably have an easier time if you were telling me that it was more about confidence than looks. Because a person that has confidence, despite being or considering being considered less attractive, if they have confidence, their word comes across a lot different, right? And a lot of people have an easier time believing them if they're confidently talking about what they're having. Like Trump, right? A guy like Trump, we wouldn't consider him attractive. A lot of people wouldn't, right? But he talks about things so confidently that it does reach people. So I'm sorry, I just this concept of LooksMaxxing in order to get further in life, it can only take you so far. I believe there are so many other things that you could be improving on in yourself. That is going to be better overall. I really don't agree with this.
I believe in original sin and concupiscence. I think it's a fallen world. And so sometimes people drive me crazy and I kind of want to murder them. My biology or
We can't fist him with gifted sub. Listen, I appreciate you all being here. Like, I usually do my bigger episodes on Saturdays. I am a very small streamer in this space. I have done gaming for most of my content creation time. So this is me getting into the drama commentary space. So I'm a small streamer. So every time that you guys can come over and hang out means a lot to me. And the support that you give to me means a lot to me. Gifted subs do end up making a difference because it tells people, oh, look, this channel exists. Go and check them out, or go see what benefits you have from your subs, or maybe check out the Discord. So it does help out a lot. So don't think that just because there's not a lot of people in chat or people engaging that it doesn't make your gifted sub doesn't make a difference, because it does. It really does. Thank you.
fallen aspect of my nature urges me to murder them, or to go sleep with 100 other women who aren't my wife, or to eat 10 more cupcakes off the table. And I have to fight against that just as I fight against all sin.
But what's easier, to convince every single person in the state or in the United States to treat everyone equally based on looks and really fight their biological instincts, or to...
Oh my God, it disturbs me so much when he keeps saying, fight your biological instincts.
individually improve yourself so that you don't have to?
Well, I guess maybe the question then becomes over the improvement, because you've already granted that some of these drugs that you're taking, they might have negative side effects. Now, is LooksMaxxing all just drugs? Or
no.
We need more people for flawless victories? Are you making references that are not computing with me, Zero? What is happening? Thank you so much for the 10 euros. Did you end up telling me where you're from? I might have missed it.
No. That's...
What else is there?
I Fox Max for the content is wild. Yes, people are attracted to confidence, 100%. Like, there's this lady in the influencer space. She's like, she embraces the fact that she's larger, and she has so much confidence, and it makes people want to listen to what she has to say. And yes, she's not considered what society sees as beautiful, right? Bulgaria, okay, I'm from Portugal.
Do it. So there's a lot of stuff about like coloring, like, you know, being tanner. It could even be as simple as...
Is tan good?
Tanning?
Yes.
Well, the UV damage and UV exposure can certainly
No, I'm saying from the LooksMaxx perspective. Do people like the tanner people or the whiter people?
The tanner people, actually, and they've done a lot of different surveying about this. Usually,
It's another Mortal Kombat reference, crap. Yeah, I I don't get those. I've never played Mortal Kombat. I think I own like Mortal Kombat 10 or something, but I've always been more of a Tekken girl when I was younger. Zero with the more 5 gifted. Holy crap, thank you so much for the support today. You've been very kind.
and European phenotypes are the most ideal.
Put this up.
So,
Because you would think, oh, maybe this is just racist, but you would, I thought the idea was people value whiteness more, and that's one of the great sins of our culture is that whiteness is considered
You know what? That is actually weird, right? That is kind of weird.
more beautiful than brownness or blackness. But you're saying, no, it's the basically you need to Sicilian max, and then you're in a good spot.
yeah, not necessarily. I mean, it's also just a health indicator to be a little bit more tanned rather than completely pale. So that's why people often prefer it. So that's another part. It could even be as simple as getting leaner. Lean maxing is a big part of LooksMaxxing, and that's arguably the most important thing that you could do because you can do all this. You can get surgeries, but at the end of the day, if you're 20, 25% body fat, you're not even able to see any of your facial angularity or definition. You've got no idea what's underneath all of the sludge.
Okay, so
Have no idea what's under all the sludge. I can't even imagine his opinion on fat people. Holy crap, like, he probably like looks at fat people, you know?
you get rid of the sludge, you go on a good diet, you work out, you...
Because we know that he's all about that lean, right? He's like looking at himself in the mirror all the time and pulling his shirt up like, I'm so lean.
And maybe, okay, now that's basic. Everyone, yeah, okay. You want to look better, you work out and eat better.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that. Then you raise the stakes a little bit and you say, and inject yourself with things like testosterone and...
Honestly, Maiden, I hope that he gets to a point where he realizes that too. But right now, the way that he approaches like his connections with women are so superficial that obviously looks are so incredibly important to him, but it makes him also so very lonely, right? If he doesn't even value, he might never value because he is autistic. Autistic is going to be autistic for the rest of his life, and that's just not how he sees the world around him, right? So maybe he will never realize it, or maybe there's going to be a woman one day that shows him what it's like to actually connect to another human being.
Other hormones. Okay, that raises it a little...
Or a man.
bit. Is that it? Is that where it maxes out?
No, so I'm getting a double jaw surgery in a couple weeks from now. So that's probably the furthest it goes, is plastic surgery.
This is really ignorant, and I'm learning a lot sitting here.
Okay.
What do you mean a double jaw surgery?
So
you're not getting a second jaw?
No, they just perform 2 osteotomies.
Meaning like one side and the other side?
No. So your upper jaw, which is your maxilla.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And your lower jaw, your mandible. They're just doing an osteotomy on both of the jaws and then advancing them forward.
Now, why are you doing that? You're a good-looking guy.
Well, because I want to look better, right?
Why? Okay. Before I ask my next question, why do you want to look better? Meaning, look, I would get it if you looked like some mutant and you had some deformities and it was really messing up your life. But you're tall, muscular, you've got defined...
Because this is his purpose. His whole life is about this. If he doesn't keep working on himself, he has nothing. He's literally obsessed. He's been obsessed since he was 14, probably earlier. This is literally the purpose of his whole being, is to make himself look better. Dude, the thing is, one of these days, his surgery is gonna go wrong. I really hope not, obviously, but like, all of these things sometimes go really, really wrong, and he's going to like maybe even create a defect on himself, on his face, on his body, something, and then he might never recover from that. Imagine if someone like this, whose whole purpose is to look better, if something happens, like his whole life is over. This is horrible to depend so much on his good looks.
Bone
it's
features.
So dangerous.
Why do you need to go further?
Well, I mean, you're already rich. Why are we here right now doing this interview?
Because I
would
think
turn that around on you.
I like a I like having money. Money's a nice thing to have. But I don't really like spending money that much. And so I'm happy to make the money and get more money. But I think there's more to my work
You get
than
what I'm
money.
saying, right?
No, but I think it's an important distinction.
Yeah.
I work for a lot more than money. If I only wanted to make money, I would have gone into banking or consulting or something. So I work for a lot more than that. What are you working for when you get the double jaw surgery?
To look better. And, just because you're already doing okay or you're well off, is that a reason to quit? Is that a reason to sort of put the brakes on? That seems a little ridiculous.
Let me ask it another way.
Yeah.
You say, why do I need to keep working? And I say, well, in part, it's to make more money, and then I can put my kids through school, and maybe I can take them on a vacation or whatever. But it's also to spread the ideas that I care about. It's also to raise my political influence in ways that I think would help shape the country in a good way. It's also to spread my view of religion, spread the gospel, hopefully convert some people. There are myriad reasons that I would continue to work. But it would be doing the interview and doing the shows for those reasons. And so what I'm asking you is, what you already look good. Why do you what is looking better for?
So I am someone who just wants to mog, essentially. And I've done this speech a few times. I don't really care about, getting girls. That's kind of lost its novelty at this point. I just want to mog people. I want to have, a better halo.
Having your purpose be better than other people, it's going to break you.
Effect and just better overall quality of life through my looks.
No, the quality of life is ridiculous because you will not have a quality of life following that path.
Look, sometimes a guy just wants to mog. I get it.
You know what I mean?
But
No, I don't. I really don't. Anyway, guys, we're going to keep it here, but if you want to see the rest of the interview, please go and do it. His channel is Michael Knowles. He does a lot of these interviews, and we looked into this one. Obviously, his perspective is not mine, but it is nonetheless an interesting interview, so you guys can go check it out. There's a lot more to it. It's like another 2 hours of this, so if you want to go check it out, go ahead. We're going to keep it at that. I think we have a good understanding of what Clavicular is about. I will be looking into this red pill situation. I have always been interested. I thought the internet had sort of like hidden them away, but apparently there are ways to get to them. So I think I'm very interested in making more of my content around these sort of people, even though obviously I'm gonna trigger myself and you guys, but that's just part of the entertainment. I hope you guys are in for the ride with me. I can see how to look good is good for the people. Listen, I get the halo effect, I get it, but I think there's so much more to it that he's not grasping. And what's scary about listening to Clavicular is that he is very adamant on this way that he's looking at it. He does not seem flexible whatsoever. I hope he's having interesting conversations with interesting people who also have their own perspective on this, because I really feel like there's a lot more to it than just his looks. Like we talked about, confidence. Why doesn't confidence get mentioned? And then of course he can counter argument by saying, oh, if you look good, you'll naturally have confidence. But that's not really how that works. I feel like confidence is something that you can work on that is completely unrelated to your looks, because someone can look good and still have the sucky confidence that you had when you were 15 or whatever, right? So that is something separate that you need to work towards. And obviously, you can think that confidence comes from, I look so good, I get 100 girls, and that makes me feel better about myself, so I have confidence. But I don't think that's the case, because when we hear Clavicular talk, sometimes it really feels like he's talking out of insane amount of insecurity, right? And we have some people that are apparently close to him that would say that he is a very insecure person, and that doesn't go away that easily just because he's LooksMaxxing, So yeah, I could drop some names to look clips. Kelly, are you on the Discord? I highly recommend you go on the Discord. Even if you're not a member, you still have access to welcome chat, and I look at it all the time. So even if you drop some names there or some links, I will still look at them. And if you do become a member one day, even if it's a gifted member, You'll have access to other channels that will also allow you to post a bunch of different stuff and talk about different stuff in the drama sphere. So yeah, please keep that in mind. Everyone else, yeah, we have a Discord. If you're not on there yet, I highly recommend. It's in the description and it's everywhere if you look up my link. So yeah, it should be very easy to find. Yeah, Red Pill Gang. I will look more into this stuff, especially because it's a way for me also to give my perspective as one of the I'm definitely not a Stacy, but I'm a woman, and I can provide some insights sometimes on these situations that I feel like a lot of guys are looking at it wrong, you know? But yeah, we'll do some stuff tomorrow. I don't know what the topic will be tomorrow. I still have to do my research. But it might be within this space. We are doing True Crime Week. I know it doesn't feel like it, but we are doing True Crime Week. So everything that I approach during this week has to be related to some sort of like crime. I sort of went into this Clavicular thing because he got arrested, but it wasn't like the biggest story of the day. So we're doing another True Crime episode tomorrow, and then we're going back into our regular content on Saturday. Yo, flawless victory. iVixey wins. Oh, dude, I just won in Mortal Kombat. That's wild. I appreciate you so much today here, Zero. I really appreciate you. I hope you also join us on the Discord. Sort of Crime Week has been fun. Yeah, sort of Crime Week is accurate. That's very accurate. I'll try to prepare another good episode for you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'll see you either on the Discord or I will see you tomorrow at the same time. Let me see if I can redirect to anybody. If there's anyone interesting on. Let me see. Bye, everyone. Thank you again for being here. I'll see you all tomorrow again. Who's on? We have some Rastov Gaming. Listen, Rastov just got monetized on his gaming channel. So we can go say hi. He's doing an 8-hour stream. He got partnered. He got monetized. We're probably gonna get monetized soon too, which reminds me, if you're not yet following the gaming channel, go do that. Because we are trying to get to that 500 subscriber number. And we're getting really close to getting monetized as well. So I'm pretty excited about that. If you're not yet following, go and do that. Let's go say hi to Rastov Gaming. Bye everyone. Bye. Bye. Thank you so much for the support again. Bye guys.